Welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook Chapter 81 Huodi. This is a dream. At this time, Cam stepped forward and asked with a suspicious look, "Where are the 100,000 troops?" Ah, this. Hodi. He was speechless for a moment. In an instant, the numerical advantage was almost evened out. He was confident that he could do it by taking more addiction pills, but he could never knock down 100,000 people with just his aura. His body trembled, and his peripheral vision inadvertently swept across his executives. Then he was surprised to find that those powerful executives of his had not fainted. Then his gaze happened to fall on the snow and ice beside Monet. Suddenly, he understood. Ja ha ha ha. I understand. I understand. This must be your ability. You are like Vanderdecken X, you are cursed. You can use all kinds of abilities. Hodi then said with a look of strategizing. In my opinion, you are already exhausted. With such a large-scale use of your ability, you must not be able to continue using it. Huh. Cam frowned. Hodi's wave was a lucky hit, and he really guessed it right. Executives are not small soldiers, and continuing to use haki, conquerors to clear small soldiers will have no effect. At the same time, he still felt that he had overestimated Hodi's knowledge. It's okay to not be able to distinguish between haki, abilities, and even devil fruit as curses. Sure enough. I guessed it right. Cam's frowning scene, however, made Hodi misunderstand. He breathed a sigh of relief. Then he laughed again with a look of foolproof plan, winning the strong with the weak, trying to scare me off with the aura of instantly killing 100,000 people. Smart idea. But unfortunately, you met me. In the end, they are just a few low-level races. How can they be a match for my fish man? Go to hell. Hodi roared and swallowed hundreds of addiction pills in one breath. Then his figure flashed and rushed towards Cam. Frog in a well. Cam looked at Hodi indifferently, his body motionless, and his eyelids did not even lift. Sure enough. He doesn't even have the strength to dodge. Hodi was overjoyed when he saw this scene. The speed of the rush was even faster. Armament haki. Kaji stepped forward, and the rich armament haki was almost overflowing. Looking for death. When Hodi saw this, his speed became even faster. He waved the trident in his hand and stabbed it heavily towards Kaji's heart. Clang. Only a clang was heard. The trident broke. What? Hodi was dumbfounded in an instant. He instinctively wanted to escape. But there was no chance at all. Let's go together. Cam didn't regard Hodi as a boss at all. Quickly solving this clown and destroying Wang Lufei's luck is the top priority. Bang bang bang. Awoo. Start a gang fight directly. At this moment, Hodi was completely confused. It's okay if he can't beat those two men. Even the two women can't beat him. He can't hit one no matter what, and he can't beat the other in terms of strength. Dream. I must be dreaming. Hodi howled in pain, unable to believe that what was happening now was real. The most noble fish man can't even withstand a single blow from the humble human. He only thought it was a dream, and everything would be fine when he woke up. So strong. Is this the human who defeated Vanderdecken X? Beat him. Beat him. Beat him to death. Come on. Quote. On the square, the onlookers cheered in unison. Under the intervention of the three princes, everyone already knew that the humans fighting in front of them were reinforcements from the first prince. And the leading human was the human benefactor who defeated Vanderdecken and freed Shirahoshi not long ago. Big brother. In the corner, the executives trembled. They wanted to go up to help, but they were blown away by the shockwave as soon as they got close. If Hodi wasn't still howling, they would even suspect that Hodi was dead. What to do? Those humans don't talk about martial ethics. It's okay to sneak attack at the beginning, but they even gang up on us. The executives cursed. Wait, sneak attack. Suddenly, one executive suddenly had a flash of inspiration. Those humans can sneak attack. Why can't we? His gaze immediately shifted to the Neptune family shuttling through the crowd. If they could use them as hostages, they will definitely be able to reverse the situation. That's right. They did what they said, and took the addiction pills. Those executives discussed and approached Shirahoshi together. At this time, a shopping mall 10 miles away from the execution square. Because of the king's execution, no one was left to guard the huge shopping mall. The Straw Hat crew directly started a 0 yuan purchase. Meat. So much meat. It's all mine. Luffy opened his mouth wide, like a small black hole. Countless chicken, mutton, beef, were all stuffed into Luffy's stomach by a powerful suction. Gold. Gold. So much gold. Nami's eyes lit up, and she started her old business. She took out a snakeskin bag and stuffed it inside. Zoro accidentally got lost in the wine cellar. Sanji lingered in a place marked, underage prohibited. Is this really okay for us? Chopper looked at his partners with a tangled face. They seemed like robbers. Chopper. Usopp patted Chopper's head. There's no burden. We are pirates, and it's normal for pirates to do these things. Moreover, we are going to save that idiot king this time. The things here are just a part of the advance payment. Usopp said, then took out a huge cotton candy and continued, I think even if that king is stupid, he can't let us fight on an empty stomach. Chopper's eyes lit up when he saw this. That's right. Being inexplicably slandered and wanted, other pirates would have killed Ryugu. They are willing to put aside their grievances and help the king here. What's wrong with eating some free food? Chopper took the cotton candy and took a bite. It's delicious. Sigh. Jinbei looked at the distance with a worried face, and then looked at the big clock in the mall. The execution time is approaching. But Luffy is still eating. Luffy. Are you full yet? Not yet. Jinbei. Covering his face. Then he looked at Robin and asked, is your atmosphere always like this? Hehe, it seems so. Robin did not participate in the 0 yuan purchase, but leaned beside Jinbei and chuckled, covering her mouth. Sigh. Jinbei squeezed out a smile on his face, I hope we can make it in time. On the other side, the pirate wharf. On the Sunny. He is a merfolk trafficker. He will destroy Fish Man Island in the future. The shipwright Dan stood at the bow of the ship with a worried face, holding Straw Hat Kid's wanted order in his hand. Because he was too busy, he only now learned the news. P.S. Dan is Tom's younger brother. Tom is Frankie's teacher. Hiss. Could it be that those explosives are what they used to destroy Fish Man Island? Chapter 82. That's the future. Thinking of this, Dan trembled all over. While repairing the Sunny, he was stunned to find a large number of bombs hidden inside the Sunny. At that time, he didn't understand why a ship would carry so many bombs. Now, combined with this wanted order, he couldn't help but have some bold ideas in his mind. No, I have to notify the soldiers. Dan thought of this and was about to leave. But in the end, he stopped. Like his brother, he is an excellent shipwright. After seeing such a great ship like the Sunny, he only hopes that this ship can continue to sail the sea. Alas. Dan sighed, I should hide these bombs first, and notify people to deal with them after they leave. Great, he's finally gone. In a corner of the Sunny, Calibu trembled with excitement. He came to a relatively hidden room on the ship. Straw Hat Kid. You cut off my financial path, you asked for it. Calibu howled with anger, feeling extremely angry in his heart. Originally, he had caught dozens of beautiful merfolk, and he was about to leave Fish Man Island to enjoy a happy life. As a result, due to the Straw Hat Kid's incident, the border defenses increased. He, a merfolk trafficker, couldn't get out. Moreover, the probability of being discovered has greatly increased. The identities of pirate and merfolk trafficker are superimposed. He might lose his life. In the end, in the face of money and life, he chose life. Damn it, Straw Hat Kid. I, Calibu, will never stand with you. Calibu's heart was bleeding. He put down the last merfolk and left with a pained expression. Yoncord Plaza. Hody was being beaten in turns by Cam and the others, and his screams were endless. Not dead yet. Cam thought that Hody's health bar was really thick. A minute passed, and Hody hadn't died yet. However, what he didn't know was that everyone in the team had held back their strength. Cam is the protagonist of this scene. It would be best if he killed Hody. Boss. It's your turn to beat him. Kaji threw Hody to Cam like he was passing a ball. Okay. Cam responded, wanting to finish Hody quickly. At this moment, there was an uproar on the plaza. What else do you want to do? You stinky squid, let go of Shirahoshi. Let go of Shirahoshi princess. Quote. Hearing this, Cam turned his head to look. He saw a squid-like fish man in the crowd holding a trident against Shirahoshi's head. Humans, let go of big brother Hody. Otherwise, I will kill her. The squid fish man roared when he saw Kam's gaze. Damn it, I was careless. Kam's face darkened. He was having too much fun fighting. For a while, he didn't pay attention to the slightly stronger executives than the soldiers. Kaji. Can you handle it? Kam asked. Kaji said with an ugly face, it's too far away. He has taken a lot of those addiction pills, maybe he can react. Addiction pills simply enhance the strength of the user. But for the opponent, there is still an unknown attribute. It is not clear how much medicine has been taken, so it is not known how many times the strength has been increased. Even if Kaji is an admiral candidate, his observation haki is not weak. He cannot see through this power that does not belong to the user himself. Once he miscalculates, Shirahoshi may be in danger. In other words, Kaji didn't dare to gamble. Let go of Shirahoshi. I'll be your hostage. Neptune heard the noise and immediately surrounded him. Do you think I'm stupid? Looking for you, a big knight, as a hostage. The squid roared, the trident was closer to Shirahoshi's head. At worst, I'll take someone with me to hell. You dare. Neptune's body heaved violently, and he was about to take action. Father. Shark Star called out to Neptune, signaling him not to be impulsive. He looked at the squid executive and comforted him. As long as you don't hurt Shirahoshi, any conditions can be negotiated. Then the three princes tacitly approached Shirahoshi slowly. Although their strength is not very good, it is also relatively high-end. If they are close enough, they may be able to kill the executive with one blow. The executive was shocked to see the actions of the three princes, and retreated half a step with Shirahoshi, Shark Star. I advise you not to make any small moves. My hostages are not just Shirahoshi. After saying that, the executives around Shirahoshi swarmed up. One of them held a beautifully packaged letter. If you get one step closer, I'll tear it up. Don't. The Shark Star three princes stopped at the same time, with horrified expressions on their faces. That letter is the consent form from the celestial dragon agreeing to the establishment of friendly relations between the fish man and humans. It was obtained by Queen Otahime at the risk of her life, and once lost, it will never be obtained again. It can be said to be the most critical vote for the future fish man to move to the land. It is a very precious thing. But their current strength can only save Shirahoshi or ****** the letter. That is. Shirahoshi's delicate body trembled slightly, and her eyes were filled with tears. The scene from 10 years ago is still vivid in her mind. Mom, what is the sun? What are the stars? What is the forest? Shirahoshi asked, looking at these things she had never heard of in the book. The sun. Queen Otahime looked at Shirahoshi lovingly, nodding her chin. The sun is the sun, it is very warm, warmer than the yang tree. The stars will rise into the sky at night, and then they will twinkle and be very beautiful. As for the forest, it is a place full of green. Really? Shirahoshi's tender pupils glowed with radiance, her eyes full of anticipation. I really want to see it. Then she was full of disappointment again. She knew that once their merfolk arrived on land, they would be caught. She was afraid that she would never see the real sun in her life. There will definitely be a chance in the future. Queen Otahime smiled and took out the beautifully packaged letter, as long as we have it. What is it? Shirahoshi asked her mother with a confused face. She only knew that this letter was brought back to land by her mother at the risk of her life. As for what it was, she had always been curious. It's. Queen Otahime smiled brightly and said, it is our future. Future. Shirahoshi murmured this distant word. Her body trembled suddenly. Looking up again, it was 10 years later. That is. Future. Shirahoshi sobbed and pursed her lips tightly to prevent herself from crying. The passage of 10 years has made her understand more, and also knows the power of that letter. It is no exaggeration to call it the future. Suddenly, Shirahoshi's eyes became firm. She can die. But the future of the merfolk and fish man cannot be dark. Big brother. The letter. Shirahoshi's delicate body trembled violently, she gritted her teeth, and her jade neck was cut by the squid fish man's weapon. Chapter 83 The Weak. Shirahoshi. Quote. The three princes were filled with grief, forcefully holding back their tears. With a flash of their figures, they charged towards the fish man holding the letter. Damn it. Quote. Are you disregarding Shirahoshi's life and death? Quote. The squid fish man officer, seeing this, roared in anger. But when he raised his eyes to deal with Shirahoshi, he saw the latter lying on the ground covered in blood. Shirahoshi's decisiveness even caught him off guard. Damn it! Shirahoshi, you idiot! Quote. The squid officer howled in pain, never expecting the always timid Shirahoshi to act this way. When driven to the end of the road, one should go crazy. Die. 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 Quote. He frantically waved the weapon in his hand. Vented his anger by stabbing at Shirahoshi, who had already fallen to the ground. Damn it! Quote. In the plaza, Cam, seeing this scene, suddenly erupted. This scene happened too suddenly. He only reacted now. Kaji. I have never regarded this clown as an opponent. Quote. Understand. Quote. Cam shouted loudly, stepping out. With a flash of his figure, he appeared in the plaza. Bang! He blasted the squid fish man officer away with a punch. At the same time, he activated 60% of his heal fruit ability. Ah! Quote. In the plaza, Hody Jones howled in pain, swallowing all the addiction pills in one go. As his life force drained away, an extremely dense and violent aura exploded. His original height of 3 meters instantly soared to 10 meters. Power, unparalleled power. Quote. Hody laughed maniacally. The one who wins in the end is still me. Quote. You. Kaji straightened his hunched back and stood there upright. His eyes filled with pity. You are very pitiful. You are clearly so weak, yet you delusionally want to rule the world. You are also very foolish, like a toad king under a manhole cover, not knowing how high the sky is or how wide the earth is. Foolishly thinking you are invincible. Quote. Nonsense. Quote. I, Hody Jones, am invincible now. Quote. Hody roared, his fist, larger than a person, continuously burst out like a machine gun. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Quote. Kaji's figure flickered, like a floating fallen leaf. He was not injured at all under Hody's dense attacks. You coward. Are you just going to hide? Quote. Hody howled, his body continuing to expand and become stronger. It was like the final radiance of his life. Thump. Quote. Kaji paused, his figure stagnated, and then he continued to ask, I want to know, what exactly have humans done to you? That you hate them so much? Quote. He felt it was necessary to ask clearly before Hody Jones died. What unknown hatred still existed between humans and fish man? That could make an ordinary fish man so crazy. After all, he was also a navy, hoping for peace in this world. Jahahaha. Quote. Hody laughed wildly, the final radiance of his life causing his body to expand to the extreme. Veins popped out on his face, and his eyes were full of blood. They did nothing at all. Quote. Huh. Quote. Kaji stood there blankly. He was stunned. In an instant, a bone-chilling cold swept over him, making it almost impossible to breathe. Then, the next moment, endless flames of anger filled his chest. Just this. Quote. Suddenly, Kaji smiled. I take back what I just said, you are not pitiful at all. You are a complete madman. Quote. So what? Die for me. Quote. Hody's fist bulged with muscles, the unparalleled power making him completely mad. You are the weakest person I have ever seen. Quote. Kaji raised his hand and made a fist, the two completely disproportionate fists colliding fiercely. Boom. A deafening roar resounded, followed by the cracking sound of bones shattering. How is this possible? Quote. Hody's pupils contracted sharply, the two blood-colored jewel-like eyes instantly shrinking into two small red dots. He lost. Shock. Fear. Disbelief. For a moment, countless thoughts arose in Hody's gradually numbing mind. Jahahaha. Quote. But the next moment, he laughed wildly again. I understand. I understand. This must be a dream. It must be a dream. How can humans be so powerful? We fishmen are the noblest race in the world. Quote. When the dream ends, I will kill you all. Quote. Jahahaha. Jahahaha. Hody laughed wildly, roaring. Having consumed a large amount of addiction pills, his life had already come to an end. His huge body, which had expanded to 15 meters, suddenly contracted, like foam encountering sulfuric acid. Kaji shook his head. He suddenly understood why Cam said he had never regarded Hody Jones as an opponent. This kind of person was not worthy. Even if he really possessed great power, he was not worthy. He was a weakling, a complete weakling. A weakling even weaker than ordinary people. Shirahoshi. Quote. In the plaza, Neptune and the three princes, after retrieving the letter, all gathered around. Why is it useless? Quote. Kam's face was full of worry, his 60% heal fruit ability was actually useless. It only temporarily stopped Shirahoshi's wound. But there was no sign of recovery at all. Not only that, but Shirahoshi's body was rapidly withering. Clearly, that was the ability of that squid fish man. Doctor. Quickly call a doctor. Quote. I am a doctor. Quote. Among the crowd, a middle-aged female fish man stood out. Comma. Doctor, how is it? Neptune asked anxiously. The situation is not optimistic. The water in Princess Shirahoshi's body has been replenished, but she just can't wake up. I don't know what the problem is. It's best to ask that squid fish man. Quote. The female doctor shook her head, indicating that she did not know the reason. Fortunately, I didn't kick him to death. Quote. Kam breathed a sigh of relief after hearing this. At the same time, the people around Shirahoshi all glared at the squid, who was already tied up. Let me go. Quote. Otherwise, you can wait for Shirahoshi to die together. Quote. The squid fish man officer said smugly, as if he had expected this. Damn it. Quote. Shark Star gritted his teeth, although he was furious. But saving Shirahoshi was the most important thing now. I didn't expect Big Brother Hody Jones to lose. Quote. The squid officer stretched lazily, a hint of madness flashing in his eyes. He said with a smile. After I took the addiction pills, not only did my strength increase, but my ability also changed to a certain extent. Quote. Not only can I absorb water, I can also absorb blood. Then, he laughed heartily. This idiot princess who ruined our plan is about to become a skeleton. Ha ha ha. I'm so happy. Quote. Damn it. I'm going to kill you. Quote. Prince Flipped Car Star angrily raised his trident, wanting to kill the squid fish man. HMPH. Quote. The squid fish man was not flustered at all, and said lightly, let me tell you one more thing, the celestial dragon's letter that this idiot princess desperately protected is fake. Quote. So you can't kill me, otherwise, I will tear it up. Quote. Saying that, the squid fish man took out a delicately sealed envelope from his pocket. It was exactly the same as the one in Shark Star's hand at this moment. What? Quote. Chapter 84X Blood Type. What? Quote. The pupils of the three princes dilated like dumbbells, their faces filled with disbelief. Then, with a thought, they flashed forward, wanting to snatch the letter. Ha 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 ha. You fell for it. Quote. Who would have thought that the squid fish man wouldn't defend at all, but instead set his sights on the letter in Shark Star's hand. In the instant Shark Star rapidly approached him. He snatched it away. Idiots, fools. Quote. You've been tricked again. You personally lost the letter that Shirahoshi desperately tried to protect. Quote. The squid fish man laughed triumphantly. Then, under the astonished gazes of everyone, he tore open the envelope, looking as if he was about to tear it apart. Damn it. Quote. Are you crazy? Quote. Let's talk it out. I can agree to any conditions you want. Quote. King Neptune panicked immediately. Without the celestial dragon's consent and signature, their fish man's desire to move to the land would definitely face various obstacles from other kingdoms. Haha. I'm not crazy. Quote. I will now inherit Big Brother Hody's will. Quote. The squid fish man roared with red eyes, without hesitation. Under the almost desperate gazes of everyone, he tore the letter to pieces. Gaia. You're courting death. Quote. Seeing this, Neptune and the others were furious. The gushing anger overwhelmed their reason, and they waved their four tridents, stabbing at the squid fish man simultaneously. Neptune, you still lost. Quote. The future of the fish men will only be revenge. Quote. The squid fish man didn't dodge. He opened his arms, in a victor's pose, his eyes full of madness. Damn it, just a little bit more. Quote. Neptune cried to the sky in pain, his 10-year plan bankrupt, it was clearly going to succeed this year. It's all my fault. Quote. Shark Star buried his head, his face full of sorrow, the hope that Shirahoshi risked her life for was given away by his own hands. It's not your fault, blame him for being too despicable. Quote. Neptune wiped away his tears with force. There are still citizens here, he, as the king, can't show weakness. King Neptune. Quote. At this time, the female doctor walked over. Neptune pursed his lips, with tears in his eyes, and asked, "How is Shirahoshi's condition?" The female doctor nodded. "Just like that traitor said, Shirahoshi princess not only lost moisture, but also lost a lot of blood. The princess has lost too much blood, and her life is in danger. Quote. Then quickly give Shirahoshi a blood transfusion." Prince Crown Star roared from the side. Third Prince. The female doctor shook her head. "Shirahoshi princess's blood type is X, which is very rare. We don't have this kind of blood pack here, and none of the residents watching have X blood type either. Quote. Take as much as you need. She and I are siblings. Quote. Shark Star spread out his palm, his face serious. Yes. Quote. The female doctor immediately gave Shark Star a blood test, and then panicked. "First Prince, you are S blood type, you can't transfuse blood to Shirahoshi princess." Quote. What about us? Quote. Prince Crown Star and Prince Flipped Car Star also spread out their palms. The female doctor gave the two princes a blood test again without stopping, her face full of despair. "Two princes, you are both S blood type, it won't work." Quote. Use mine. Take as much as you need. I am X blood type. Neptune said. Okay. Quote. The female doctor nodded, and after verifying the blood type, she was pleasantly surprised, it really is X blood type. Quote. But her heart was also tense. Blood transfusions between direct relatives can easily cause transfusion-related graft versus host disease, and once it occurs, the mortality rate is as high as 90%. And Shirahoshi was severely injured before, which greatly increased the incidence. After she explained the situation to Neptune and others, she decided to treat it as a dead horse. No. Quote. No. Quote. The female doctor hurriedly called to stop. The thing she was most worried about still happened. Shirahoshi's vital signs dropped sharply. Shirahoshi. Father is sorry for you. Quote. Neptune roared to the sky, his daughter was actually going to die in front of him. The war was clearly over. Doctor. Continue to transfuse my blood. Even if there is a 90% mortality rate, isn't there still a 10% chance that nothing will happen? Quote. King Neptune, please calm down. Quote. Our hospital is already rushing here with X blood packs. Shirahoshi princess will definitely survive. Quote. The female doctor encouraged, but her heart was still panicking. Shirahoshi lost too much blood. Not only the blood lost from the wound, but also the squid fish man, his ability took away a lot of blood from Shirahoshi. With every moment that passes, the chances of Shirahoshi surviving will decrease. Maybe Shirahoshi will really die. Everyone. Quote. Is anyone X blood type? Quote. As long as someone is willing to donate blood, I will offer all the treasures of Ryugu Kingdom. The three princes roared unwillingly. I am F blood type. Quote. I am E blood type. Quote. I am H blood type. Quote. Quote, quote. The residents watching all looked embarrassed, indicating that it wasn't that they didn't want to help. They really didn't have the same blood type as Shirahoshi. How about using mine? I am X blood type. Quote. Just then, Cam stepped forward and said. That's great. Quote. The female doctor was instantly surprised when she heard this, but when she saw that the speaker was a human, the joy in her eyes disappeared in an instant, turning into a strong entanglement. And the merfolk and fish men present all looked like they wanted to say something but hesitated. Even Neptune was like this. What? Could it be that human blood can't be used for merfolk? Quote. It can be, but it can. Quote. The female doctor looked embarrassed. Although the Ryugu Kingdom's law prohibits merfolk and fish men from transfusing blood to humans. But merfolk and fish men who receive human blood transfusions will also be despised. But with the situation urgent, she still gave Cam a blood test first. That's great. It really is X blood type. Quote. The female doctor exclaimed, then looked at Neptune. This headache-inducing decision should be made by him. King. Quote. The eyes of the residents watching all focused on Neptune, wanting to know what decision he would make. Cam, you. Mingmei choked slightly, her eyes a little incredulous. She could be considered a fairly enlightened celestial dragon, she didn't wear a glass jowl when traveling, and she didn't have much airs. But she couldn't calmly send out the blood of the king. It's okay, I'll take the blood back then. Quote. Cam showed a look that you understand. You. Mingmei's pretty face instantly turned red, and then she sighed, forget it. Anyway, it's your business. But let me remind you, it's best not to tell some of the elders in the clan, some pedantic old guys value these things very much. Quote. I'm not an idiot. Cam replied. Ah, yes, you are a pervert. Quote. Mingmei glared at Cam unhappily, and then said, it's just that they don't seem to appreciate it very much. Quote. At this moment, the square was full of disputes. 30% of the merfolk and fishmen shouted that Shirahoshi's life was important and that they could accept human blood. 30% of the merfolk and fishmen said that Shirahoshi should not accept human blood. The remaining 40% of the merfolk and fishmen chose to remain silent. King. Quote. Of course, their quarrels were useless. The one who makes the decision is always King Neptune. Chapter 85. Road to the Sun. Mr. Cam. Quote. After a moment of silence, Neptune solemnly bowed and saluted, thank you. Clearly, this attitude made Neptune's meaning clear. But King, wouldn't it be bad to do this? The hospital's blood packs will be delivered soon, so there's no need to transfuse human blood, right? The faces of some residents on the field suddenly turned ugly, indicating that Shirahoshi should not accept human blood. If our Ryugu kingdom really wants to get along with humans in a friendly manner, we can't just think about it. Many times, we need more tolerance. Neptune shook his head and said, just like blood, no matter what race or status, the same red blood flows. But King, the celestial dragon's letter is gone. Some residents sighed, we can no longer have hope of moving to land. If the celestial dragon's letter was still there, they would not object to Shirahoshi receiving human blood. But the problem is that the celestial dragon's letter is now gone. Not to mention whether they can successfully move to the land in the future, just the fact that the celestial dragon's letter was torn up by the fish man may incur the celestial dragon's resentment. So the best way now should be to clear the relationship with humans as soon as possible. Just like that squid fish man said, they have already lost, and their future is only revenge. Unless another person like Princess Otahime can appear. My mind is made up. Everyone, don't persuade me. I am the king, and also a father. Besides, Neptune forced a smile and said, it's just a letter, maybe we can get one in the future. But even he himself didn't believe it when he said this. System. What kind of medicine can add blood? As soon as the blood transfusion started, Cam asked in his heart. Shirahoshi's body was too huge, and the blood he could transfuse was not enough. Open black lens bracket large blood pack. 500,000 experience points close black lens bracket. That's so expensive. Cam looked distressed. He would have to save up 500,000 experience points for a long time. By the way, can Mighty Pill work? Open black lens bracket master. Mighty Pill can also work, but close black lens bracket. That's great. System. Use Mighty Pill. Open black lens bracket ding equals Mighty Pill is being used close black lens bracket. Boom. As the system's broadcast sounded, Cam felt his body filled with infinite power. Ah! The female doctor next to her exclaimed. She was shocked to find that after the human in front of her had transfused a lot of blood, the blood in his body immediately became full again. It's okay, my physique is special. Draw as much as you want. I have a lot of blood. Cam said straightforwardly, anyway, he had a lot of mighty pills. Ah, this. Even though Cam had said that, the female doctor still checked carefully with a professional attitude and continued the operation after confirming that there was no danger. Mr. Cam. The three princes were in tears, I really don't know how to thank you. Don't know how to thank me. Cam immediately looked anxious. First prince, you didn't mean to go back on your word about offering treasures, did you? How could I? Shark Star laughed and waved his hand, even feeling that these treasures were not enough. That's not right. After a while, Cam asked again, but didn't you give me the previous treasures as a reward? He immediately pretended to be angry and said, you don't have any treasures left, and then you're going to pick up some junk to fool me, right? Shark Star was stunned. Then he immediately laughed loudly. Don't worry. At worst, I'll ask father to give you my sister. That's great. Cam also laughed loudly. At this time, laughter rippled, the sea breeze swayed the sun tree, and the warm sunlight swayed with it. Under the sun, red blood flowed slowly in the infusion tube. whether it hurts or is injured. In this narrow and slender infusion tube, all disputes seem to return to calm. Woo. At this moment, all the merfolk fish men were in tears. Looking at the scene of humans and fish men laughing and talking in front of them. They seemed to see a path. A path that can easily traverse through mutual suspicion and the war of blood debts, more direct and clearer than those empty fantasies. The path to the sun. Suddenly, they realized, fishmen and humans may not necessarily need another unique Otahime to coexist peacefully. Because everyone can be Otahime. Some old laws are also a kind of curse. Neptune sighed as he watched this scene. At this moment, he suddenly understood Otahime's concept of coexisting with humans even more. Maybe her ideas were too idealistic. But that was right, and only that was right. At the same time, it hurts too much. Luffy clutched his chest, a strange stinging pain penetrated his heart. Luffy, what's wrong with you? The Straw Hat crew stopped and asked. I don't know either. Luffy shook his head in pain. I feel like something important has been taken away. How could it be? Usopp said, don't talk nonsense, Luffy, I think you're just in pain from eating too much and exercising vigorously now. Chopper nodded in agreement and asked, how about we stop and rest for a while, and I'll check Luffy by the way. Still resting. Jinbei was very confused. Neptune's execution time was almost up, so why were they so slow? No need. We're going to save that idiot king now. Luffy refused decisively. He had a feeling that the thing he was missing must be related to this matter. Thinking like this, his speed increased instead of decreasing, and he ran towards the square. This. The Straw Hat crew all shook their heads, saying they didn't understand what their captain meant, and didn't ask any more questions, and followed along. The distance is not far. Soon, the Straw Hat crew and Jinbei arrived at the outer edge of the square. From a distance, they could see a large number of Ryugu residents surrounding the square in a circle, with faint cries coming from it. Not good. Could it be? Jinbei was shocked. He subconsciously thought that Neptune was gone, and the crying was the crying of the people mourning Neptune. Quote. Realizing this, Jinbei wailed to the sky, does Hody not execute on time? No, this cry is not sad. Robin frowned slightly. In her perception, this cry seemed to be a cry of emotion. But the problem is that their king is dead. Still moved. Who cares? Let's go take a look first. The Straw Hat crew all disguised themselves according to Jinbei's plan. They would reveal their identities after defeating Hody as heroes. In this way, they would not be recognized in a short period of time. Okay. Everyone nodded and approached the center of the square with their heads buried. The closer they got, the more they frowned. Something's wrong. Something's really wrong. These residents really didn't have any sad emotions, as Robin said. Shirahoshi. Quote. Jinbei squeezed into the front row and was shocked by the scene in front of him. At this time, Shirahoshi was lying unconscious on the ground, and next to her was lying a human. The most important thing is, that human seemed to be giving Shirahoshi a blood transfusion. What's going on? Quote. Chapter 86. The Straw Hat Pirates appear and arouse public anger. What's going on? Someone recognized Jinbei and explained the cause and effect to him. Woo. After listening, Jinbei's eyes became wet. He suddenly understood why so many fish men were crying here. He is also a fish man. He could understand what this meant, and knowing the truth about Tiger's death, he hoped it was true. The only thing he regretted was that the celestial dragon's letter had been destroyed. Everything will return to zero. But this may not be a bad start. Are we late? The Straw Hat crew arrived one after another, feeling a little uncomfortable after learning the result. How could saving a king be stolen? Doesn't this mean that they will continue to bear the stigma of being merfolk traffickers? No way, the war is over. Usopp gritted his teeth, looking disappointed. He thought, why is Hody so weak? Couldn't he have persisted a little longer? What did you say? The surrounding Ryugu residents were immediately displeased when they heard this. They couldn't be happier that the war ended so quickly. Why does the tone of this long-nosed guy sound like he's complaining that the war ended too quickly? Could he be an accomplice of the rebels? Sorry, he's not thinking straight. Nami hurriedly said, then glared at Usopp fiercely. War is fun, so much fun. Usopp clapped his hands with a dark face, making a series of funny movements. They are wanted and cannot attract attention. Seeing this, the surrounding residents breathed a sigh of relief. So he's an idiot. That is. At this moment, Luffy's breathing suddenly stopped. He stared at Cam with bloodshot eyes. Anger surged from his chest like a tide. They had been extremely difficult since they set sail. Tens of thousands of Marines surrounded them, and they almost fell there. After arriving at Fish-Man Island, they were hunted down miserably by a wretched Marine. All of this was because of the celestial dragon in front of them. Ah, I'm going to beat you up. Without thinking much, Luffy swung his fist as big as a sandbag and charged towards Cam. Bang! Straw Hat Kid. Kaji stepped out and caught Luffy's fist with one punch. Then he picked him up and slammed him heavily on the ground. Boom! A huge roar exploded, pulling everyone who was immersed in certain emotions back to reality. At this time, Kaji was suspended in midair, roaring at the smoky place not far away. Straw Hat Kid. Are you trying to take advantage of the situation to assassinate them both? Damn it. It's you again, you stinky Marine. Luffy wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and looked at Kaji with fear. This Marine tormented them badly a few days ago. Straw Hat Kid. The onlookers from Ryugu exploded instantly, looking at Luffy in unison. Someone compared him to the wanted poster. It's really Straw Hat Kid. Ah. Damn Straw Hat Kid. Isn't it enough that you've abducted so many merfolk? The Ryugu residents roared. Do you have to take Shirahoshi Princess's life? No. Facing the murderous crowd, Luffy waved his hands repeatedly. He said that he just wanted to beat up Cam. Straw Hat Kid. But this explanation made the Ryugu residents even more angry. Now Shirahoshi Princess's life is in danger. Relying on the blood provided by Benefactor Cam to live. As a result, this Straw Hat Kid attacked Benefactor Cam without saying a word. Isn't this indirectly trying to kill Shirahoshi? And they also heard that the Straw Hat crew was the main contributor to Hodi's ability to break through Ryugu so easily. They raised their hoes and brooms and rushed towards Straw Hat Kid. Tat tat tat. Hundreds of thousands of residents moved together, that posture. It's terrifying. Ah, this. The Straw Hat crew all supported their foreheads when they saw this. They said, why is Luffy so impulsive every time? Now they are wanted and cannot show their faces easily. What to do? The Straw Hat crew looked at each other. Somewhat embarrassed. They believe that they are not heinous villains. Fighting the Navy is understandable. But to attack ordinary people, they still can't do it. Save Luffy first. Nami looked at the log pose on her wrist and had an idea. The magnetism of the next 3 islands will be recorded soon. We will leave Fish-Man Island immediately after recording. Quote. Okay. Everyone nodded in unison. Jinbei, it seems that our misunderstanding with Fish-Man Island has deepened. Robin looked at Jinbei, whose expression was equally ugly, and said, thank you very much for taking care of us today. Alas. Jinbei sighed, go, we'll meet again someday. Who can he blame? Originally, according to the plan, the Straw Hat crew would appear and save King Neptune, becoming heroes. It will definitely eliminate the previous misunderstandings. But who would have thought that King Neptune would be saved first? Could he blame Cam for not saving Neptune? Obviously not. Could he blame Luffy for eating too much and delaying too much time? It seems, it's not impossible. When we meet next time, I will definitely clear your name. Jinbei felt that if he had to blame someone, he should blame the real merfolk traffickers. He would go and catch that mud monster later. The Straw Hat crew nodded silently, then strode out. Everyone, stop for Grandpa. Quote. Usopp roared, pulling the slingshot string, special move egg star. Stinky eggs fell like a torrential rain. What is this? It stinks. What is this thing? Isn't that the idiot just now? Damn it. They are the Straw Hat crew. Quote. Quote, quote. The residents covered their noses and howled, causing a commotion. It's too stinky. Usopp shouted. It's now. Luffy, run. Okay. Luffy covered his nose tightly, his figure flashing. Instantly distanced himself from the source of the stench. Luffy. Don't fight them, hide first. Nami said, leave Fish-Man Island immediately after the log pose is finished recording. I know. Although Luffy was a little unwilling. But he also understood that the people who beat him just now were ordinary people. Moreover, he is a rubber man and did not cause him any harm. He nodded and sped up. Damn it. Straw Hat Kid is going to escape. Quote. Chase. Don't let him go. Ah. My daughter must have been abducted by him. Quote, quote. The Ryugu residents all had bloodshot eyes. Luffy was already wanted and was recognized as a merfolk trafficker. In addition to Madame Xiarli's prophecy and seeing him assassinate Kam and Shirahoshi with his own eyes. The anger swelled to an extreme. They stepped out and chased after Luffy. Father. Shark Star looked at the direction the Straw Hat crew was running and said. Bring some troops. Go chase. Neptune was even more angry. Kam, as a human, gave blood to Shirahoshi, which was a good start for merfolk and fishmen to get along with humans. But it was almost destroyed just now. Most importantly, his daughter almost disappeared again. Yes. Father. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 87. The Fatal Problem of Kam's Becoming Stronger. Yes. Father. Shark Star nodded, leading a team of soldiers to chase after him. The military and civilians, a mighty force, numbered hundreds of thousands. At the same time, Ding detected Master successfully snatching Wang Lufei's copy. Detected that the Ryugu residents' hatred for Wang Lufei has reached the threshold. Experience points plus 110,000. Wang Lufei. Hearing the commotion, Kam looked up, too lazy to pay attention. He was more curious about the system's broadcast. In the end, he still seemed to have fallen into the copy, and there were even rewards. System. Isn't there any reward for not doing that? Kam asked curiously. Master. These are extra experience points generated when targeting Shirahoshi. This system only focuses on that thing, the system explained garrulously. System. Tell me honestly, did you deliberately let me enter the copy? Kam seriously suspected that this system was dishonest. He hadn't called him father enough. Master, no, the system explained garrulously again. Understood. No wonder you mentioned Southeaf before. Kam roughly understood that it seemed that intervening with women who had bonds with Luffy would cause him to fall into the so-called Southeaf copy. But brushing the copy is fine. The most important thing now is to kill Luffy. Kam shook his head. Although he had a system that allowed him to become stronger by having children. But he had a fatal problem. He didn't have time to become stronger. Assuming he had good luck every time and could hit the soul in one shot. But the 10 months of pregnancy couldn't be changed. After 10 months, Wang Lufei would already be a new 4 emperors. And he, Kam, didn't even know if he would be alive. Even if he was alive, how much stronger could he become? It should be noted that this was under the premise of having good luck. Like Monet. After all that tossing and turning, there was no movement. As for winning by quantity. Not to mention whether Kam could handle it. The problem was that there weren't that many women with high destiny values, and the final reward would probably just be more useless gadgets. The best solution was to completely nip Wang Lufei in the bud before he fully grew up. Jia. Wang Lufei. In a few more days. You will die. Kam's heart trembled with excitement. According to the plot, the Straw Hat crew would pick up Zephyr not long after leaving Fishman Island, and then clash with him. Finally, they would use up that damn buff. He, Kam, only needed to bring absolute combat power to intercept them at Punk Hazard in advance. Killing Wang Lufei with absolute strength would be the best. He really didn't know how to lose. Mr. Kam, you. The female doctor in charge of the blood transfusion exclaimed, thinking that Kam was unwell when she saw him trembling. It's okay, I have enough blood. Draw as much as you want. Kam replied, while using the great strength pill. Lord Kam. Just then, Shirahoshi woke up, with tears in her eyes. Ding detecting Shirahoshi's favorability towards the master is continuously increasing. Favorability plus 0.1. Favorability plus 0.1. Favorability plus 0.1. Favorability plus 0.1. Opening square bracket closing square bracket. Why is it adding so little? Master. It's almost full. Damn it. What the hell is wrong with these guys? 20 miles away from the square, Luffy howled in pain. He ran all the way. The army of soldiers and civilians behind him chased all the way, and they were only chasing him alone, which was infuriating. Luffy. Here. A merfolk figure suddenly appeared at the corner and shouted. Kaimi. Luffy exclaimed, and then without hesitation, suddenly accelerated. Ah! Damn it! Straw Hat Kid escaped again. The residents chasing behind stopped, looking around but not seeing anyone. Let's split up and chase. Notify us immediately if you find Straw Hat Kid's whereabouts. Wait a minute. What's wrong? First Prince. The leading resident asked. Shark Star nodded. It's not a solution to chase like this. Does anyone know where the Straw Hat cruise ship is? They must be trying to leave Fish Man Island now. I don't know. The Straw Hat crew sneaked in. In that case, please take someone to find it. Leave the task of capturing Straw Hat Kid to our army. Shark Star saw more clearly than ordinary people. The Straw Hat crew was running away, obviously not wanting to attack these ordinary civilians. But it was hard to guarantee that the Straw Hat crew wouldn't jump over the wall in desperation. As the kingdom's first prince, he should protect the safety of the people. But those residents were a little unwilling. I know you are angry. I also understand that some of you have had your wives and daughters abducted. But the Straw Hat crew is very strong. They haven't attacked you now, but that doesn't mean they won't attack you forever. Besides, the merfolk abducted by the Straw Hat crew are likely hidden on their ship. If you find them quickly, you can rescue your wives and daughters sooner. Okay. The leading resident finally nodded. Just as Shark Star said, it was too dangerous for them ordinary people to chase pirates. Fish Man Cafe, Staff Dormitory. Huff huff. Luffy fell to the ground, gasping for breath, almost running to death. Luffy, please don't be so impulsive in the future. The Straw Hat crew, who had arrived here earlier, all shook their heads, thinking that Luffy was too reckless. When they arrived at the square, they already knew the cause and effect of the matter. That human named Cam had turned the tide and saved Ryugu Kingdom from danger. Wouldn't they be targets if they showed up at this time? Got it. Luffy nodded unwillingly. How did he know that those fishmen would have such a big reaction, but in any case, thank you Kaimi. He suddenly stood up, grinning as he looked at Kaimi. Looking grateful. Kaimi looked at Luffy with a complicated expression, hesitant to speak. Kaimi. You can say anything you want. I know your difficulties. Sanji said, noticing Kaimi's appearance. We also know our current reputation. Merfolk traffickers, destroying Fish Man Island, assassinating the princess. Robin also shook her head, a series of misunderstandings stacked together. It was already very rare for Kaimi to trust them. That's right. Everyone nodded at the same time. Huh. Luffy was shocked, his eyes widened with disbelief. Kaimi. Don't tell me you also think I'm a merfolk trafficker. He suddenly became anxious. Absolutely not. Kaimi hurriedly waved her hand, saying with an extremely firm gaze, you would rather offend the celestial dragon than save me. I would rather die than believe that you are merfolk traffickers. But, changing the subject, Kaimi said with tears in her eyes and a sad face, but, you promise me. Can you never go back to Fish Man Island again? Ah this. The Straw Hat crew twitched their mouths, weren't you just saying you believed us? No. Kaimi didn't give the Straw Hat crew a chance to speak, she hurriedly said, don't misunderstand. I believe you have been framed as merfolk traffickers. But at the same time, I also believe in Madame Xiarli's prophecy. Chapter 88 Million Rupees Surely. You aren't from Fish Man Island, so you might find it absurd for us to believe in prophecies. But, Madame Xiarli's prophecies are really accurate. The accuracy rate is 100% so far. She prophesied the Great Pirate Era, prophesied the Top War, and even prophesied Whitebeard's death. For us residents of Fish Man Island, Madame Xiarli's prophecies can't even be called prophecies, they're more like things that are bound to happen in the future. Kaimi stammered, not knowing how to face the Straw Hat crew. She was almost about to cry. Kaimi. At this moment, Luffy suddenly exploded, shouting with a face full of anger, you. Bang. Before Luffy could finish speaking, Nami punched him. Luffy. Stop it. Kaimi, don't worry. We will definitely not come to Fish Man Island again in the future. It's not. Kaimi corrected, as she didn't want to never see these friends again. Madame Xiarli's prophecy is that Luffy will destroy Fish Man Island, not the Straw Hat crew. Nami. Understood, we will definitely not let Luffy get close to Fish Man Island in the future. Frankie. Actually, with Luffy's personality, he might really cause that kind of disaster. Sanji also nodded. Don't worry. If Luffy shouts about wanting to come to Fish Man Island one day, I won't cook for him. To be honest, they also knew Kaime's difficulties. Being able to secretly hide them in the current situation was already taking a huge risk. Moreover, the reason they went to Dragon Palace City Prison this morning wasn't it because they were afraid of implicating Kaimi. Some things can't be put before the cart. Quote, comma, quote. Quote, comma, quote. Everyone said a word or two, guaranteeing that Luffy would not come to Fish Man Island again. This matter was considered settled. During this period, Nami brought good news. The magnetic field of the 3 islands behind will be recorded by tomorrow morning. Okay. See you tomorrow. After Kaimi went out, she felt very uncomfortable. She is a resident of Ryugu Kingdom. Logically speaking, she should report to the Ryugu soldiers now that the Straw Hat crew is here. She shouldn't have helped the Straw Hat crew hide. But, the Straw Hat crew is her benefactor. Kaimi. Madame Chiarli had returned to Mermaid Cafe. She scrutinized Kaimi like she was a prisoner while holding a pipe in her mouth. After a long time, she said, have you arranged things for them? Boss. Kaimi's pupils shrank suddenly, and she panicked, the Straw Hat crew. Stop. Madame Chiarli said nonsense with her eyes closed, Straw Hat crew. Where is the Straw Hat crew? Kaimi, what Straw Hat crew did you just say? Aren't they being chased? Kaimi's expression stagnated, how could she not know what Chiarli meant? Thank you, boss. Don't worry, boss, they will leave tomorrow and won't implicate the cafe. Kaimi. What are you talking about? Madame Chiarli continued to pretend to be deaf and mute, what implicate or not implicate? Kaimi. I suspect you have a mental abnormality. So today, tomorrow, you should take a good rest and don't come to work at the store. Now, immediately. Yes. Kaimi nodded repeatedly, her eyes full of gratitude. Sigh. After Kaimi left, Madame Chiarli looked up at the direction of the employee dormitory and sighed, I hope my prophecy is wrong. Otherwise, it would be too cruel for Kaimi. Too much vigorous pills. Inside the hotel, Cam's face turned red. About 1 hour after the Straw Hat crew escaped, Shirahoshi was out of danger. Then, the 4 of Cam politely declined King Neptune's invitation to the banquet and returned to the hotel. Don't look at me. Mingmei looked at Cam with a look of disgust. She thought, is it necessary for a celestial dragon male who is cursed to not last even 3 minutes? Now, that so-called luck should be destroyed. Then what are you going to do next? Mingmei is also a celestial dragon, and also the direct daughter of the Makabaka family. Naturally, she knows that Cam's real purpose is to kill this generation's Nika fruit ability user, which is Wang Lufei. Don't worry. I will intercept Straw Hat Kid at the next stop, Punk Hazard. Punk Hazard. Mingmei frowned slightly. She thought that the 3 islands behind Fish Man Island were not Punk Hazard. But she didn't ask any more questions, then the marriage with Shirahoshi. It's not suitable now, let's wait a few days. It's best to wait until I kill Wang Lufei. Anyway, it's only a matter of a few days. Cam thought for a while and said. His first goal now is Wang Lufei. Only when he dies can he lie down and open a harem with peace of mind. That's right. Mingmei nodded. It is indeed not very appropriate to contact Ryugu Kingdom one moment and propose marriage the next. By the way, Cam paused for a while and then said, after you go back, let the 5 elders transfer a Navy Admiral to me. I want to ensure that nothing goes wrong. Except Kizaru. Mingmei didn't understand at all. Now, among the 3 Navy Admirals, Kizaru's strength is the strongest. Shouldn't the strongest be chosen to ensure that nothing goes wrong? However, she couldn't ask Cam anymore. I can't do it anymore. At this moment, Cam's face was flushed, and he strode into Monet's room. Is it necessary? Mingmei listened for a while, and was stunned in place. Then she didn't stay any longer, left the hotel, left Fish Man Island, and went in the direction of Mary Geoy's. Half an hour later. Monet trembled and looked at Cam fearfully. Husband, I really. Woo. Monet's tears fell down instantly. Something's wrong. System. What the hell is going on? Cam's eyes were bloodshot, feeling like he had been tricked. Open black lens bracket master, Cheap things have their advantages. This is the side effect of taking a large amount of vigorous pills. Close black lens bracket. Then will I die? Open black lens bracket. No, but you will return to 3 minutes and 1 second ago. Close black lens bracket. Ciao. Then I might as well die. Cam quickly ran away as if escaping for his life. Kaji, where can I find women? Boss. Kaji smiled honestly, indicating that he was a gentleman. Bang. Cam directly punched him. Stop pretending. I wouldn't know you. Turn left when you go out, then keep walking, the one with the brightest light is there. Kaji looked aggrieved, indicating that the consumption there was very expensive, and he really went there very rarely, but at this time, Cam's shadow was long gone. Not long after. You are. Madame Charlie looked at the person who suddenly appeared at the door with a look of astonishment. Cam. Today, he turned the tide and rescued King Neptune. The hero who saved the fish man. Shouldn't he be attending the banquet in Dragon Palace City? Fuck. Cam was also stunned. Did Mermaid Cafe also have the kind of business Kaji was talking about? And wasn't Madame Charlie living in the fortune-telling house behind the cafe, and not caring about anything at all? Merfolk. Cam's eyes were bloodshot, and the way he looked at Charlie changed. Save me quickly. This was the last sentence he said before he regained consciousness. Comma comma. Comma comma. Chapter 89. The store manager is still a virgin. Fish Man Island, Pirate Docks. Yes. We finally found it. The residents, led by their chief, were so excited that they gesticulated wildly. They had been searching tirelessly, and finally, they had found the Straw Hat Crew's pirate ship. They're really bold. Parking in such an obvious place. Wait. Listen carefully. Hiss. I think I can hear my wife crying. That's my daughter's crying. That's my sister-in-law crying. Quote. The Ryugu residents were filled with righteous indignation. Most of those still in the group were residents whose wives and daughters had been abducted by merfolk traffickers. Their anger ran deep. Ah. Damn Straw Hat Crew. Damn merfolk traffickers. I'm going to rescue my sister-in-law right now. A young fish man, his face filled with anger, wanted to charge in alone. Bang. But he was stopped by the leading resident. Don't be impulsive. Our opponents are fierce pirates. Going in now is no different from delivering our heads. And it might even turn our wives and daughters into hostages, making it even more dangerous. Chief, what do we do now? Notify First Prince. Okay. The leader had a lot of prestige in the group, and the angry residents eventually suppressed their anger for the time being. Meanwhile, Shark Star, leading the Ryugu army, received the news and learned the location where the Straw Hat Crew's pirate ship was docked. First Prince. What do we do now? Right Minister asked. Father said before to try our best to kill Straw Hat Kid. But judging from this morning's battle, if we really fight, we are very likely not their opponents. Shark Star's expression was a little unsightly as he analyzed the current situation. Rescuing people is the priority. Contact Prince Crown Star and Prince Flipped Car Star. Order them to lead the main force and meet us at the docks with the residents. Leave a small group to continue searching for the Straw Hat Crew's whereabouts. Yes. Mermaid Cafe, employee dormitory. Ah. It's so noisy. Who is screaming there? Luffy couldn't sleep because of the noise and couldn't help complaining. Ah. This. The Straw Hat Crew all rolled their eyes. Is that what you call screaming? Our captain is too naive. But that voice sounds familiar, it seems to be that manager. Usopp concluded after listening carefully. Hush. Don't talk nonsense. Their manager doesn't do that kind of thing. Sanji retorted. It's strange. That fish man named Hody enslaved many humans. Didn't they all go back after regaining their freedom? Why are some people still here? Who knows? The Straw Hat Crew didn't continue to discuss this issue. After all, there were still 2 women in their team. Great. All the magnetic force has been recorded. After a while, Nami jumped up and said loudly. It's worth mentioning, different from the original plot, the log pose on Nami's wrist was bought in the Fish Man Island market 2 days ago. The New World's log pose will record the magnetic fields of the next 3 islands. Navigators can choose the safest island through the subtle differences in the magnetic fields. Yeah. The Straw Hat Crew was shocked, and after hearing clearly what was happening, they all laughed again. Reassembling after 2 years. Although the process is arduous. But finally, they are about to continue their real restart. Then what are we waiting for? Let's set off now. Frankie rubbed his fists, already impatient. Let's go. I really don't want to stay on Fish Man Island anymore. Usopp carried his slingshot and put on his goggles, looking eager to try. Yo-ho-ho-ho-ho, Brook was equally surprised. After Fish Man Island, it's the new world. A new world, a new adventure. Chopper's eyes sparkled, full of anticipation. Sanji lit a cigarette, and Zoro sheathed his 3 swords. The 2 rivals were both extremely excited. Yeah. Robin covered her mouth and smiled, nodding. Ah, isn't it still dark? Luffy scratched his head, indicating that he wanted to sleep a little longer. He was really too tired yesterday. Straw Hat Crew. All speechless. Why was the good atmosphere ruined? Luffy. We are now wanted criminals. The whole island is searching for us. If we are found in the morning, Kaimi will be in danger. Nami sighed and said with a serious expression, she might even end up in jail. What? I understand. Then I'll leave now. Hearing this, Luffy was no longer sleepy. Although he often acts without thinking, he still understands some things immediately. He mustered his strength and went out to work. As a result, he ran back covered in dirt in less than half a minute. The Ryugu army outside was as energetic as if they had been injected with chicken blood and didn't rest at all. If they go out, they will be hunted down again. Damn, are we going to break through by force? I think we should be as ruthless as we are against the Navy. Just kill them and it's over. Usopp, do you want us to deepen the misunderstanding between us? Then what do you say we should do now? Quote. Everyone was talking, and they couldn't come up with a solution for a while. Everyone, I know a relatively safe route. Let me take you there. At this time, Kaimi, who had been silent, jumped out. She felt that this was the only thing she could do for the Straw Hat Crew now. But the Straw Hat Crew all shook their heads. They really didn't want to involve Kaimi. If the Ryugu army saw Kaimi helping them, they would probably be charged with treason. It's okay. If I'm accidentally discovered, I'll pretend to be held hostage by you. Kaimi had already given a solution. Yeah, the eyes of the Straw Hat Crew all lit up. What a good idea. So, the Straw Hat Crew, plus the merfolk Kaimi, set off from the sewer and headed towards the pirate docks where the Sunny was docked. Inside the Mermaid Cafe, the Supreme VIP suite. This guy. Charlie looked at Cam. Manager, what exactly is going on with him? Inside the room, the other merfolk were also shocked. He seems to be poisoned. It seems to be related to the blood transfusion yesterday. Charlie also had extraordinary knowledge and guessed a rough idea. Well, can you go out for a while? Cam looked at the dozens of merfolk present with strange eyes, feeling like a panda being watched. Although they were all praising how strong she was. But it was really a bit embarrassing. Go out. Those merfolk were instantly unhappy and clamored. We've been working so hard for so long. You're comfortable and you want us to go out. Don't think that you're a hero of Ryugu. We'll let you bully us. Then what do you want? Cam knew she was in the wrong, she had eaten them after all. We are business people. At this time, the merfolk rubbed their palms, looking like they needed money. Cam understood instantly. Alas, this human has taken advantage of her. The manager is still a virgin. The manager has been running the store for so many years, and it's the first time she's taken the initiative to greet a guest. The manager is going to open a stock next year, and in the end, she will still have to leave Fish Man Island to find a human to marry. Quote. When those merfolk took the money and left, they didn't forget to shout loudly. They were just short of shouting in Cam's ear that their manager took the initiative, so you should take good care of her. Chapter 90. The Straw Hat Pirates are really mermaids. These fellows. Charlie glared fiercely at her shop assistants, thinking they were meddling. Ah, this. Hearing these words, Cam's action of taking out money instantly froze. They weren't in that line of work, and were even being proactive. Giving money would instead hurt their feelings. Don't listen to their nonsense, give as much as you should. Charlie put down her pipe, her cheeks slightly puffed out as she spoke. Ah, this. Cam was once again stunned. This appearance. Wasn't it just like when Hancock said no with her mouth, but her body was very honest. I'm not giving it. After thinking for a moment, Cam immediately put on an act of eating hard and having a free meal, righteously. Ah. Charlie's eyes twitched, although she didn't really want Cam to give money. But why was it different from what she imagined? I just fell asleep. I didn't taste anything. As Cam spoke, he quickly stepped forward. One hand embraced Charlie's soft and smooth fragrant shoulder, and the other picked up her slender fishtail, lifting her up like a princess. Then he immediately flipped his hand and directly carried her on his shoulder. So I want more. Ah, ah, ah. You, shameless. Charlie's delicate body struggled violently, unable to resist cursing. She suddenly felt that this human was not a hero at all. He was purely a pervert. The reason he saved Shirahoshi Princess was probably because he coveted her beauty. But she was half pushing and half accepting, not refusing. Just as her shop assistant said, most female merfolk would go ashore to find their other half after their tail split. She was no exception. And the human in front of her was a very good choice. Thinking this in her heart, she was immediately stunned. What are you spacing out for? Continue. Charlie was very angry. The kind that couldn't be coaxed. Deleted. Comma. The next morning, the morning breeze blew. Cam breathed out a long breath, his line of sight landing on Charlie. At this moment, he suddenly understood why there were so many mermaid stories on Blue Star before. You. Facing the line of sight Cam cast over, Charlie's entire body trembled. She was really scared. Don't worry, I will take responsibility for you. Cam said straightforwardly. HMPH. Charlie lightly snorted, but didn't say much. Instead, she asked a question unrelated to it. She asked, did you take a fancy to Shirahoshi Princess, wanting to do that kind of thing to her? Cam's expression stagnated. To say that he didn't take a fancy to her would definitely be a lie. After all, Shirahoshi's beauty was completely comparable to the world's #1 beauty, the pirate empress Boa Hancock. But would it be too much to tell the truth like this? If it is, then it is. If it isn't, then it isn't. Charlie shook her pipe, her face full of indifference. It is. But the purpose of my coming to Fishman Island is still to hunt down Straw Hat Kid. Because of some factors, I can't kill him for the time being. And then form a relationship with Shirahoshi. Cam felt it was necessary to explain that he wasn't the kind of person with too many schemes. I'm too lazy to listen to your affairs with the Straw Hat crew. Charlie nodded, waving her hand, but if you really have that kind of thought towards Shirahoshi Princess, then you should quickly have your family arrange a marriage. In my opinion, your identity is not just a navy. As for me, give me an address. If you don't mind after I split my tail, I'll spend the rest of my life at your place. Charlie shook her head, still with a face full of indifference. Cam was instantly dumbfounded. Charlie was willing to be his mistress. And it had to be after she split her tail. I divined your future when you were unconscious. Charlie shook her pipe, exhaling a long breath as she said, your future is as a king, and also the kind of king with 3,000 beauties in his harem. With so many sisters, what's the big deal about being a mistress? As for why, Charlie was very open-minded. She continued, now, because of you. The relationship between humans and our fish man and merfolk is very delicate. As long as more and more fish man and merfolk are willing to move to the land. Even without the celestial dragon's letter, our wish to live on land can be realized. And marriage between humans and merfolk is a very good start. Among the merfolk, the best marriage choice is Shirahoshi Princess. And she herself doesn't seem to like you very much either. For the sake of the greater good, I can only wrong myself. Charlie breathed a long sigh, still with that indifferent look. Huff. Cam instantly understood, even Charlie's thoughts were not much different from his own. Forget about after you split your tail. He embraced Charlie's slender waist, his face full of determination as he said, after I deal with Wang Lufei, I'll take you and Shirahoshi back together. Don't worry, there won't be too much impact. My identity will only be more noble than you think, many things will only be simpler. Cam wanted to say, the celestial dragon letter you guys keep talking about, I can write 10,000 of them. Stop messing around with those things, the future of the fish man race is important. Charlie glared at Cam. In her divination, Cam was the emperor of a certain great country. But that was all. What more noble identity could there be? Could it be that he was a celestial dragon? By the way, you have an older brother in Impel Down, right? At this time, Cam suddenly thought that Charlie was Arlong's younger sister. Do you want me to use my connections to get him out? No need. He brought it upon himself. Charlie was still indifferent. But in her heart, she was calling him wasteful. To use connections to bring someone out of a place like Impel Down, how many gifts would you have to send? Then, should I have the guards take care of him more? Cam took a step back and asked. Whatever. Charlie was still with that indifferent look, but in the depths of her pupils was a hint of joy. Although she didn't have much affection for that half-brother. But that was still her relative after all. Buru buru, treasure horn. Just at this time, the phone bug rang. It was Kaji calling. What's the matter? Cam asked. Boss. The Straw Hat crew is preparing to set sail. Kaji replied. Nonsense. Cam was very annoyed. Did he have to call for this kind of trivial matter? No, boss. The situation is a bit off. On the other end of the phone, Kaji was a bit clueless. The Straw Hat crew seems to really be merfolk traffickers. Chapter 91 The bomb is missing. Kaji pushed aside the seaweed and stared blankly at the sunny not far away. Within the range of his observation hockey, there were more than 60 merfolk kidnapped on the sunny. That wasn't even the most crucial point. The most crucial point was that all the bombs originally placed on the sunny had disappeared. You had to know that only the detonator of those bombs had malfunctioned, but the explosives weren't damaged at all. The disappearance of such a large amount of bombs was extremely dangerous. He was a member of the Navy. Some things couldn't be taken lightly. What? Cam was also startled after hearing this. He had placed a very large number of bombs on the sunny in order to eliminate Wang Lufei without fail. If an accident happened with that amount of bombs, half of Fish Man Island might be destroyed. Now, he was being told that the bombs were gone. He got out of bed, said goodbye to Charlie, and headed straight for the pirate dock. At this moment. So that's how it is. No wonder we haven't been able to find the Straw Hat crew. First Prince Shark Star stared straight at the heads emerging from the sewers in the distance. He couldn't believe that one of them was a merfolk. Your Highness, she is a waitress at the mermaid cafe named Kamu. A soldier beside him opened a stack of documents and said, she received a life-saving grace from the Straw Hat crew 2 years ago. Humph. A female merfolk in the crowd trembled with anger. So what if they saved her life? She's a merfolk, but she's helping merfolk traffickers. That's too much. Your Highness, please forgive Kaimi for being grateful. Some merfolk also defended Kaimi, who were her colleagues from the Mermaid Cafe. It's all right, she hasn't made any big mistakes. Shark Star nodded and said, now that we've confirmed that the Straw Hat crew isn't on the ship, let's quickly rescue the kidnapped merfolk. Previously, because they hadn't received any news about the Straw Hat crew, they weren't sure if the Straw Hat crew was already on the pirate ship. They didn't dare to rashly enter to rescue the merfolk. Yes. The soldiers shouted in unison. We want to go too. The Ryugu residents who were still here also shouted in unison. Together, Shark Star nodded. Not long after, the group followed the sound of crying to a relatively hidden room. The moment they entered and saw their compatriots, their anger could no longer be contained. Merfolk. All of them were young and beautiful merfolk. Their clothes were tattered, piled together like meat, like commodities for sale. Damn merfolk traffickers. Damn Straw Hat crew. The Ryugu residents all howled to the sky, vowing to never coexist with the Straw Hat crew. Excuse me, was it the Straw Hat crew who kidnapped you? Shark Star took a step forward and helped up a merfolk with a slightly better complexion and asked. He remembered what Jinbei had been emphasizing. The Straw Hat crew was definitely not a merfolk trafficker, and there must be some misunderstanding. I don't remember very well, but it seems to be a mud monster. The merfolk shook her head and didn't know what the Straw Hat crew was. It's the Straw Hat crew. A blue merfolk suddenly jumped out, her anger undiminished, and said, Your Highness, it was indeed a mud monster who kidnapped us. I fought with him, and during the fight, he let it slip that he was a member of the Straw Hat crew. That's right. We heard it too. The cyan, orange, and pink merfolk also stood up and said, at that time, this blue sister saved us. I understand. Shark Star's expression was very ugly, and he wanted to slap himself. He had just had a glimmer of hope for the Straw Hat crew. To put it another way, the Straw Hat Kid's public assassination of Cam and Shirahoshi was a definite fact. And Madame Shirley's prediction would not be false. Now, there was even testimony from the merfolk that the Straw Hat crew had abducted them. Woo woo woo. Your Highness, sister-in-law. My sister-in-law is dead. A young merfolk found his sister-in-law in the pile of merfolk, but she wasn't breathing. What? The three princes' expressions suddenly turned ferocious. Someone had died. Your Highnesses, this place is cramped, she was suffocated to death. Right Minister glanced at the sister-in-law and sighed, this environment doesn't treat them like humans at all. Usually, their Ryugu army had also destroyed merfolk traffickers' dens. The abducted merfolk didn't have their own building, but at least 3 people in a room was standard. Female merfolk were extremely valuable, and they were treated like ancestors before they were sold. This was also one of the reasons why they didn't risk entering the ship to rescue the merfolk, because according to past experience, they would at most suffer from hunger. The army sets off. Kill the Straw Hat crew. Avenge our compatriots. Prince Flipped Car Star couldn't bear it any longer and raised his trident and said loudly. Kill the Straw Hat crew. Avenge our compatriots. Quote, quote. Quote, quote. The soldiers shouted in unison, their eyes turned cold, and they glared fiercely at the Straw Hat crew, who were still sneaking closer to this place. Ah! Damn it! First Prince was even more angry, he could see further. Whenever merfolk fishmen wanted to open their hearts to humans, there would always be humans who came to obstruct them. The Straw Hat crew were humans. They abducted merfolk and caused the death of merfolk. It would also shake the determination of the merfolk fishmen to live in peace with humans. At that time, the Queen Mother's wish, the wish of the people of Fishman Island. I'm really afraid that there will be no day to realize it. Right Minister, you arrange for these victims. The rest of you come with me. Yes. The soldiers shouted in unison. Straw Hat Kid. First Prince bent his legs slightly and exerted force. The sea beast under his crotch shot out like a cannonball. He held the trident in his hand and stabbed straight at Luffy's head. Boom. Luffy was immediately dumbfounded. What kind of hatred, what kind of grievance? He used a killing move right away. He added armament hockey to both hands and forcibly blocked the suddenly attacked halberd. Boom. Straw Hat Kid. You are going too far. Prince Crown Star and Prince Flipped Car Star followed closely behind Shark Star, and the sea beasts under their crotches rushed forward quickly. They raised their tridents and stabbed fiercely at Luffy's head. Luffy. Zoro and Sanji exclaimed in unison. One held a long knife in his mouth, and the other rotated his body. 2 sounds of jung jung were heard, and each blocked the attacks of the 2 princes. Straw Hat Kid. Step, step, step. The Ryugu army stopped in unison. They raised their big hands and grabbed them in the air. Drops of seawater gathered into a giant water ball with a diameter of 100 meters. It covered the sky and the sun, and its momentum was terrifying. Damn it! What the hell are they doing? Usopp howled to the sky. This scene happened too fast. The second before, they were still thinking about which sewer to drill into to avoid the Ryugu army. As a result, the next second, the 3 princes led tens of thousands of Ryugu troops and surrounded them. Chapter 92 The Straw Hat Pirates are not mermaid dealers, Kami firmly believes it. Damn it, we were so close to escaping. Brook looked at the Sunny not far away, unwilling to give up. Were they lying in ambush here from the start? No. They seem even angrier. Robin frowned. Luffy. Did you cause trouble again? The Straw Hat crew shouted in unison, just as Robin said. These merfolk and fishmen were even angrier than yesterday. It felt like they would risk their lives to kill them. No, I didn't. Wong Luffy also roared, indicating that he really didn't cause any trouble this time. Straw Hat Kid. Die. The Ryugu army roared hoarsely, raising their large hands and waving them forward in unison. Boom. A loud boom exploded. A huge water ball covering the sky, like a dragon emerging from the sea, instantly pierced through the Straw Hat crew. Ah! Usopp howled in pain, the huge impact almost shattering his eardrums. Something's not right. The stronger members of the Straw Hat crew frowned. This move looks scary. But it doesn't actually hurt that much. No. It's seawater. They're trying to drown us. Nami discovered the blind spot. The huge water ball did not dissipate, but trapped them firmly inside like a water jiaozi. A large amount of seawater poured in around the jiaozi. Luffy. Chopper. You ability users, retreat quickly. Nami shouted, turning her head to see Luffy, Chopper, Robin, and Brook already unconscious. Damn it. Zoro gritted his teeth, because he was holding the Wado Ikimonji in his mouth. A large amount of seawater poured in through the gaps in his mouth. He felt like his lungs were about to explode. That idiot green algae head. Sanji cursed inwardly, kicking him to a higher place where there was still air. Then he rushed towards Robin without stopping. Robin-chan. Luffy. Chopper. Frankie scooped up Luffy and Chopper. Brook floated on the surface of the water because he was a light skeleton, and wouldn't drown for a while. Attack. Don't let them escape. Outside the water ball, First Prince Sharkstar commanded. He felt during yesterday's fight that he couldn't win in a head-on battle with the Straw Hat crew. Only by using the characteristic that humans cannot breathe underwater could they possibly defeat the Straw Hat crew. Great. 4 of them are ability users. Right Minister was overjoyed to see Luffy and the others limp and weak. Damn it. You forced me to do this. Usopp surfaced, his expression fierce, pulling the slingshot string, Hisatsu Green Star Bamboo Forest Javelin Missile. Usopp. Are you trying to deepen the misunderstanding between us? The Straw Hat crew was shocked and angry at the sight. They hadn't really used their full strength even at this point, hoping that their relationship with Fish Man Island could be eased. And this was also an explanation to Kaimi, to Jinbei, to those who had always believed in them. They are innocent. If they really used their full strength, white would turn into black. Can't you see? They're trying to kill us. Usopp roared, ignoring them. Continuing to pull the slingshot string, green stars were fired like they were free. At this moment, sharp trees grew rapidly, and patches of sharp tree forests flooded the ground. Chiliu. 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 The green sharp trees were like Grim Reapers harvesting lives, and the rapidly growing tips were the Grim Reaper's scythe. In an instant, hundreds of Ryugu soldiers were pierced through the chest. A strong bloody smell immediately filled the air. Damn it! Were they hiding their strength all along? Shark Star looked at this scene in astonishment, his heart filled with grief. 3 princes. Order a retreat. That green thing is a monster that kills people. Right Minister quickly advised, if they were late, they might all be planted here. Damn it! The 3 princes clenched their fists, their faces full of unwillingness. But after hesitating for a while, they ordered the army to retreat. But it was too late to retreat. On the battlefield, the sounds of fighting and howling were connected. How could they still hear the first prince's orders? Not to mention the soldiers who had been pierced through their bodies, hanging on with half their lives, and unable to move at all. On the Straw Hat crew's side, seawater poured in frantically. Thanks to the appearance of the sharp tree forest, which absorbed some of the water, it alleviated the process of the Straw Hat crew being submerged to a certain extent. That guy Usopp. The Straw Hat crew sighed in unison, and there were casualties. Their relationship with Fish Man Island was completely broken. Now that things have come to this, let's leave first. Frankie reminded everyone. Forget it, we're notorious anyway. Zoro put on his bandana, looking serious. Besides, Usopp is right. They really want to kill us. Sanji frowned tightly. He remembered Eula's matter a few days ago, and it seemed that the situation at that time was similar to the present. Everyone. Outside the water ball, Kaimi stared blankly at this scene. Her heart was very tangled. She really hoped that the Straw Hat crew could escape smoothly, but now more of the Ryugu army were dead and injured, who were her compatriots. And the Straw Hat crew seemed to be continuing to fight them. But this is just a misunderstanding. The Straw Hat crew are not merfolk traffickers. They also promised me that they would not let Luffy come to Fish Man Island again. The prophecy will not happen. Why can't it be resolved peacefully? Kaimi murmured in her heart. Biting her lip, she stood directly between the Ryugu army and the Straw Hat crew. She puffed out her cheeks and shouted loudly, Usopp. Stop it. Kaimi. Usopp was stunned, stopping his bow-pulling action. Kaimi. We are also forced to. If we don't fight back, we will be killed. I know. Kaimi cried, turning her head to look at Shark Star. First Prince. There must be some misunderstanding here. I can guarantee that the Straw Hat crew are definitely not merfolk traffickers. 2 years ago, they would rather be enemies with the Celestial Dragon than save me. How could such people be merfolk traffickers? And they have already promised me that they will never return to Fishman Island in the future. Madame Xiarli's prophecy will not happen. Stop fighting, let them go. That's right. If you want to blame this grandpa for killing many of your soldiers just now, I admit it. At this moment, Usopp glared at Dragon Palace Prince Shaxing and roared. The fire of suffocation in his chest seemed to be about to burst out. Just because of this damn merfolk trafficker title, they have been hunted down all day. It was clearly that mud monster who kidnapped people. It was clear that the mud monster was not a member of their Straw Hat crew. Clearly, your Ryugu kingdom could have found out the truth with a little investigation. But we absolutely did not kidnap merfolk. Chapter 93. Are the Straw Hat Pirates really mermaid dealers? Kami is disappointed. But we absolutely did not kidnap any merfolk. Usopp shouted with an unquestionable tone. That's right. That's right. That's right. The rest of the Straw Hat crew also shouted. Prince of Ryugu, I express my grief for the murder of your soldiers by my companion. At this moment, Robin woke up and said, but there must be a misunderstanding about us being merfolk traffickers. Why not sit down and talk? Robin, who is always calm, was breathing rapidly at this moment, and really wanted to curse. They were really aggrieved. They were clearly not merfolk traffickers, yet they had to suffer this unwarranted disaster. Ah, this. Shark Star's eyes twitched imperceptibly. Could there really be some hidden truth? At this moment, he could feel that except for that one called Usopp who had killing intent. The others really didn't have much killing intent. If it was hidden, then they hid it too well. What's there to misunderstand? Among the crowd, a merfolk immediately jumped out. I was kidnapped by you. To be precise, I was kidnapped by the mud monster among you. Usopp's face darkened and he roared. That mud monster is not one of the Straw Hat crew. I knew you wouldn't admit it. At this time, another merfolk jumped out. She said. In fact, many merfolk traffickers separate the capture and transportation in order to avoid risks. If that mud monster hadn't thought he had everything under control and let it slip, I really wouldn't dare to say he was one of you. Straw Hat crew. Their faces were extremely unsightly. What the hell is, let it slip? Is there a possibility that he did it on purpose? Why are all the people on Fishman Island a bunch of geniuses? Robin's chest heaved violently. She said, Prince of Ryugu, that mud monster is named Calibu. He was an attacker we encountered on the way to Fishman Island. As for the subsequent kidnapping, it is clear that he holds a grudge against us. He claimed to be one of the Straw Hat crew in order to frame us with this stigma. HMPH. What a framing stigma. What a thief crying, stop thief. Just then, another merfolk jumped out. Little pink, little orange, little green, why are you here? Aren't you on vacation? Kaimi stared blankly at the appearing merfolk. This was actually her colleague from Mermaid Cafe. Kaimi. We were also kidnapped by the Straw Hat crew. Ah. How many times have I said it? You were not kidnapped by us. Usopp stomped his feet in anger, indicating that he really wanted to see if they had brains in their heads. They are pirates. If they really wanted to kidnap merfolk, there wouldn't be any burden. But it's really uncomfortable to have a fabricated matter placed on their heads. You said you were slandered by that mud monster, that he is not one of your Straw Hat crew. Then how do you explain that many merfolk working here saw that mud monster came down from your ship? That's right. That's right. As soon as these words came out, many merfolk on the field looked at the Straw Hat crew with hatred. It's not that there are no eyewitnesses, it's not that no one knows that the mud monster kidnapped them. But the eyewitnesses personally heard the mud monster claim to be one of the Straw Hat crew, and the most important thing is that more people saw a mud monster come down from the Straw Hat crew's ship. Different from the original plot. The Straw Hat crew did not encounter the Kraken, nor did they encounter the attack of the new Fishman pirates. After entering the Fishman Island's partition, they safely landed on Fishman Island with the wind blast. And the Sunny also smoothly entered the pier where pirates gathered. To be more precise, it is the pier led by the Big Mom pirates. Because there is a dessert processing factory nearby. It is a pier specially opened for convenient transportation. Therefore, there are many staff members here. More people saw it with their own eyes than heard it with their own ears. Merfolk of Ryugu, I have already said it. Robin took a long breath and said, that mud monster was an attacker on our way. At that time, in the vast sea, it was not good for us to directly throw him into the seabed. So we locked him up. The reason why some of you saw him come down from our ship is also because of this. Good. Very good. Let's assume that the facts are really as you said. That mud monster is not one of your Straw Hat crew. Then I would like to ask you, where are the merfolk kidnapped by that mud monster being held? If you say it right, we will leave immediately. The leader of the residents trembled with anger, indicating that the Straw Hat crew was really good at making things up. They had just rescued the kidnapped merfolk on the Straw Hat crew's pirate ship. Could this matter be false? Damn it. How would we know about this kind of thing? Usopp cursed angrily, indicating that this was deliberately embarrassing people. Hiss. Robin frowned, feeling a bad premonition in her heart. She looked nervously at the Sunny not far away. Could it be? I knew you couldn't say it, or rather, you couldn't say it. Then let me tell you. The leader of the residents roared, pointing to the Sunny not far away, just a few minutes ago. Our compatriots are still suffering on your ship. And some compatriots died on your ship. Boom. As soon as these words came out, it was like a blockbuster exploding in the minds of the Straw Hat crew, and they only felt their heads buzzing. What the hell? There are merfolk on our ship. These guys aren't talking nonsense, are they? Boom. Kaimi's mind was also like this, and she was almost dumbfounded at the time. She looked at the Straw Hat crew with disbelief. Then she looked at the angry Ryugu army on the other side, and she cried and asked, "This is fake, right? This must be fake, right?" Kaimi tried her best to tell herself that these words were lies fabricated by the Ryugu army in order to rightfully kill the Straw Hat crew. But the extremely angry appearance of the residents made her have to believe that this was true. Kaimi. What's fake or not? You'll know when you go and see for yourself. A colleague from the Mermaid Cafe shouted loudly, not wanting Kaimi to continue to be deceived by the Straw Hat crew. Kaimi. The Straw Hat crew all looked at Kaimi with ugly expressions. The latter gritted her teeth and swung her caudal fin towards the Sunny at top speed. Not long after, Kaimi returned, her face even more gloomy. Nami. What the hell is going on? When Kaimi left, Right Minister was still there. There were also many comatose merfolk who had not been taken away, and even the corpses of dead merfolk. Thump. Nami looked blankly at Kaimi, whose face suddenly changed, and her heart couldn't help but thump. Without thinking much, there were really kidnapped merfolk on the Sunny. Kaimi wouldn't lie on this issue. But why? Could it be that someone in their group really lured merfolk and then wanted to take them to sell for money? But that's not right, the most money-loving person on the ship is herself. Nami frowned, her thoughts surging wildly. She provoked her sight, wanting to see which people in the Straw Hat crew had strange eyes. But as soon as she raised her head, she saw all the Straw Hat crew looking at herself with suspicious eyes. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 94. Is there really a hidden story? Shark Star questions. It wasn't me. Nami's chest heaved with anger. She loved money, but she knew what could be sold and what couldn't. To put it bluntly, even if she were to sell Luffy for money, she would never sell merfolk. Because they were Kaimi's compatriots. And Kaimi was their friend. It really wasn't me, I swear. Seeing that the gazes of the crowd hadn't shifted, Nami said anxiously again. Wait a minute. Sanji lit a cigarette, took a step forward to protect Nami behind him, and looked at Kaimi and the Ryugu army, saying, is there a possibility that this is also the mud monster framing us? He deliberately placed the merfolk on our ship. Kaimi, you know. Back then, Nami was willing to spend all her savings to buy you back. I know it's hard to explain this situation. But you just need to know some things. Kaimi was stunned again. That's right. Back then, the Straw Hat crew initially wanted to buy her back, and had prepared several $100 million. It was just that the Celestial Dragon's price crushed them in one go. The Straw Hat crew was so generous and righteous, what reason did she have to doubt them? Are you kidding me, you swirly-browed human? Just then, another merfolk jumped out. She pointed at Sanji with shame and anger and said, although this isn't a good thing, the price of us female merfolk is very high among you humans, right? One person sells for as much as 70 million belly. So, as long as that mud monster isn't an idiot, he wouldn't possibly throw 60 merfolk on your ship to frame you. More than 60. As soon as these words came out, Sanji's expression instantly darkened. More than 60 merfolk, all sold for a profit of more than 4 billion belly. Unless he was an idiot, he wouldn't use this kind of asset to frame people. Taking a step back. If that mud monster really held a grudge against this group of people, wouldn't it be better to use this money to hire someone to take action? Sanji's seemingly reasonable explanation instantly became untenable. Merfolk of Ryugu. I was wondering if there's a possibility. Just then, Robin stepped forward and began to explain that mud monster originally didn't intend to pay such a price to frame us, but was forced to do so because of some changes. Just yesterday, you massively put the Straw Hat crew on wanted posters, claiming that we are merfolk traffickers. At the same time, it also strengthened the defense of the border. Seeing this, the mud monster knew that he couldn't leave Fish Man Island with a large number of merfolk, and might even die. And we had conflicts with that mud monster before. He simply went all the way, and blamed this slander on us. The final situation is like this now, we have no way to defend ourselves. Robin let out a long sigh. She had a feeling that this was the truth of the matter. This. Dragon Palace Prince Shaxing twitched his mouth again. The previous yellow-haired human's guess had some loopholes, but the black-haired woman's speculation now couldn't find any loopholes. It could even be said that it was very reasonable. Moreover, he had a feeling. There was a 60% chance that this was the truth. You're just trying to confuse the public and forcibly say that the mud monster isn't one of you. At that time, some residents were unhappy. As family members of the victims, they didn't have such a good temper to think so much. I admit. Your guess has its merits, but that's based on the premise that the mud monster really isn't one of your Straw Hat crew. Just then, a leading soldier in the Ryugu army stood up. It was the soldier who escorted the Straw Hat crew to Dragon Palace City yesterday. He looked at Shark Star with an apologetic expression and said, "I'm sorry, First Prince. Straw Hat Kid was already wanted at the time, so I didn't tell you about this." "Oh, what is it?" Shark Star asked curiously. Reporting to First Prince. According to our informants on land, not long ago, the Straw Hat crew had massively recruited members. So I guess, that so-called mud monster was a member they recruited at the beginning. With that, he took out a photo. It was the speech photo of the Straw Hat crew, fake Straw Hat crew, massively recruiting pirate members that day. What? Shark Star took it and looked at it, his pupils shrank instantly, and the intuition he had just had vanished. Looking at the Straw Hat crew with a gloomy face, he said, "What do you have to say about this?" As Shark Star roared, the battlefield that had stopped for a moment became tense again. They all waved their tridents and made pre-battle moves. Although they weren't a match for the Straw Hat crew. But there were many of them. They could always gnaw off a piece of meat. Their opponent was a merfolk trafficker. Even if they died in battle, they felt they would die without regret. This isn't us, this is a fake. The Straw Hat crew glanced at the photo, wanting to cry but having no tears. Wasn't this the fake photo from yesterday? Prince Flipped Car Star took the photo and compared it one by one. Hat. 3 swords, and a raccoon dog, this is exactly the same. What the hell is exactly the same? This is completely irrelevant. The Straw Hat crew was speechless. They wondered why there were so many blind people. Nami, Sanji, why haven't you told me where the newly recruited members are? Just then, Chopper also woke up and asked with a naive look. Straw Hat crew. They facepalmed again. It was clear that those who weren't blind could see that it was a fake. But why were there so many people in the world who were the same as Chopper? P.S. Although this is a bit exaggerated, it is a fact that fake Robin and fake Chopper were arrested by world government officials as the real ones in the manga. It is also a fact that the real Chopper mistook people at the beginning. It's over, it's starting to cycle again. Robin only felt a breath stuck in her chest, the kind that she couldn't breathe out no matter what. She knocked on her head and then said, "Okay. Let's just say the fake is real. But Dragon Palace First Prince, according to your soldier's meaning, it's only a guess that the mud monster was recruited by us. You're completely denying my previous guess based on just a guess, isn't that too unrealistic?" That's right. That's right. The Straw Hat crew roared one after another. Ah, this. Dragon Palace Prince Shaxing twitched his mouth again. They couldn't beat them in a fight, and they couldn't win in an argument, and it was the kind that couldn't be refuted at all. Up to now, they only had witnesses who saw the mud monster appear on the Straw Hat Crew's pirate ship, and witnesses who claimed that the mud monster was a member of the Straw Hat Crew. They couldn't directly state that the mud monster was a member of the Straw Hat Crew. Moreover, Shark Star asked himself, after receiving the news yesterday that the Straw Hat Crew was suspected of being merfolk traffickers, his thoughts were not much different from Jinbei's. Too many things were superimposed, causing his favorability towards the Straw Hat Crew to drop sharply. He firmly believed that the Straw Hat Crew was a merfolk trafficker. Looking back now, was he being too arbitrary? Chapter 95 The Mermaid Seller is confirmed. Kemi hates HMPH. Can't say anything, right? Because we are not merfolk traffickers at all. Seeing Dragon Palace Prince Shark Star's discomfited look, the Straw Hat Crew all breathed a sigh of relief. Dragon Palace Prince. As a prince of a kingdom, you are so arbitrary, and you are launching a war against us based on some guesses. We have tolerated you again and again. But in return, you want to kill us at all costs. Dragon Palace Prince. No matter what the final result is, shouldn't you apologize to us first for your arbitrariness? Nami said with confidence. Yes. Apologize. Chopper echoed. Yes, let's have a super apology. Frankie put his hands together, making his signature move. Dragon Palace Prince. This grandpa might as well tell you that we Straw Hat Crew are a pirate crew that has defeated two Shichibukai. Usopp raised his head high, his long nose like an antenna. Looking like you're in trouble. Everyone. Kaimi's gloomy complexion gradually returned to normal, and there was even a hint of joy. It seems that the Straw Hat Crew's name as merfolk traffickers is very likely to be slandered. If not, she wouldn't know how to face the Straw Hat Crew in the future. After all, merfolk hate merfolk traffickers the most. Just like humans hate human traffickers. Squeak squeak squeak. Although the Ryugu residents were still gnashing their teeth one by one, their anger was reduced a lot. For a time, the offensive and defensive positions have changed. The merfolk fishmen who had been aggressive before suddenly became quiet. On the contrary, on the Straw Hat Crew's side, the shouts for the prince to apologize continued one after another. This. Shark Star's face suddenly turned ugly, and he didn't know what to do for a while. Dragon Palace Prince Shark Star. That mud monster has already joined the Straw Hat Crew. I can testify to this. Just as Shark Star was in a dilemma, a voice came from the crowd. When everyone heard the sound, they turned their heads to look. And the surrounding merfolk fishmen around the speaker also stepped aside. Soon, a strong figure appeared in front of everyone. A human figure. It's a human, and judging from his attire, he's a pirate. You are. First Prince asked curiously, wondering who you were. Dragon Palace First Prince, I am one of the 30,000 humans who were enslaved by Hody and the others yesterday. The pirate said with hatred, and then looked at Shark Star with a hint of gratitude. Thank you for not pursuing our crime of rebellion, and for being willing to send a ship to send us away. You're welcome, that wasn't your intention. Shark Star waved his hand and asked, you just said that Mud Monster had already joined the Straw Hat Crew. That's right. The pirate nodded heavily. What nonsense are you talking about? Usopp stomped his feet angrily. How could another person slander them? And it's still a human. Shouldn't humans help each other? He even went to speak for the fish man. I'm not talking nonsense. First Prince, that mud monster is indeed called Kamu, as the Straw Hat Crew said. But before we came to Fishman Island, we also saw Kamu join the Straw Hat Crew with our own eyes. The pirate pointed firmly at Wang Luffy, who had not yet woken up. Although he is much thinner in size, I can be sure. It was he, Straw Hat Kid, who personally recruited Kamu that day. That's right, we can also testify. A group of younger brothers behind the pirate also shouted in unison. Dragon Palace Prince Shark Star, we can also testify to this. At the same time, another pirate group jumped out. We also wanted to join the Straw Hat Crew at the beginning, but their requirements were too high. They only recruit pirates with bounties exceeding 70 million. We too. We are the same. We can all testify. Quote, quote. In an instant, shouts came from all directions, like a landslide and tsunami. You must know that there were a full 30,000 pirates who were enslaved by Hody yesterday. And this place is originally the pirate wharf, and most of the pirates who have not had time to leave are gathered here. When they heard the movement here, they all ran over, and after inquiring about the cause and effect, they were extremely angry. But it's better not to have joined, I don't want to be abandoned like this. Among the crowd, some people said, and then glanced at the Straw Hat crew again, with a look of contempt on their faces. Hiss. These unintentional words suddenly made everyone present suddenly realize. So that's it. I was wondering why the Straw Hat crew always said that the mud monster was not one of them. It turned out to be directly used as an abandoned child. Then you mud monster are really miserable. Quote, quote. In an instant, the shouts of humans and the discussions of merfolk fishmen intertwined, and the scene became chaotic for a while. Then the next moment, everyone present moved surprisingly in unison. They all turned their heads and stared at the Straw Hat crew with eyes like copper bells. It was as if they were going to denounce something. Then what do you have to say? Shark Star took the lead and charged forward, holding up his trident, looking like he wanted to fight to the death. First Prince. We'll come and help you too. Many human pirates on the field raised their weapons. Although they heard that a human named Kai had taken action to save them. But this does not prevent them from thanking Shark Star. Gulp. Seeing this scene, Robin couldn't help but swallow. Her head turned white all of a sudden. So many people said that Calibu had joined their Straw Hat crew, and this time it was impossible to clear their name even if they jumped into the Yellow River. No, the ones you saw were fake. Usopp was so frightened that he trembled all over. Among these human pirates, there are many with bounties exceeding 50 million. Usopp himself admits that he is not their opponent. Everyone. Kaimi looked blankly at the Straw Hat crew not far away. Her face was pale and bloodless. Many human pirates on the field came out to prove that the mud monster had joined the Straw Hat crew. I'm afraid this matter is not fake. Kaimi. Nami looked at Kaimi, whose face was extremely bad. She really wanted to say that they were really not merfolk traffickers. They were really being slandered, and what those human pirates saw was a fake Straw Hat crew. But she couldn't say it anyway. In the current situation, all explanations seem pale and powerless. What's wrong? Luffy woke up groggy. As soon as he opened his eyes, he saw the Ryugu army shouting and killing him. And there are still many humans among them. Kaimi. Why did you run over there? Luffy rubbed his eyes. Immediately, he saw Kaimi's body taking several steps back in the direction of the Ryugu army, and her eyes were filled with hostility. What's going on? Kaimi is obviously their friend. She has always trusted them. Kaimi. You. Luffy was furious and was about to roar when he suddenly got up. Luffy, don't be ridiculous. Nami swung her fist and slammed it angrily at Luffy's head. Not letting him say more. She is also angry at this moment, and has a feeling of losing something important. And she has a hunch. It is her captain who caused the current situation. Chapter 96. Luffy's luck declines. Nami. Luffy stared blankly at Nami, even though she always liked to hit him. But this time it was different. She seemed really angry. Luffy, can you not be so impulsive in the future? Nami covered her face and burst into tears. Sigh. Zoro glanced over, shaking his head noncommittally. He, who could always stand up and say something during major events, chose to remain silent. Just as Nami said, this time Luffy was too impulsive. In the beginning, choosing to squat in jail for a few days would have been fine, no big deal, anyway, the prison couldn't hold them. But Luffy just had to run to the princess's room because he was hungry. Running to the princess's room was one thing, but he didn't even eat anything. Wanted to play on the trampoline. Which royal family could stand this kind of anger? Later, it was clear that the person named Cam had saved the kingdom from danger. Becoming a hero of this country. But at that time, Luffy seemed to have no brains, forcibly coming out to provoke public anger. Zoro believed that the Luffy from 2 years ago was also very impulsive. But more often, he put his companions first and used his brain before doing things. But now, Luffy. Zoro stared intently at Wang Luffy. An inexplicable sense of unfamiliarity arose in his heart. It was as if the Luffy in front of him was not Luffy. Then, in the next moment, this sense of unfamiliarity vanished in an instant. What am I thinking? Luffy is Luffy. Zoro shook his head and laughed, thinking he was overthinking things. Nami. What are you talking about? Luffy was immediately stunned, as anxious as an ant on a hot pot, not knowing where to put his hands. Why was Nami crying? He didn't provoke her. Luffy. If you ever make Nami cry again, I will never forgive you. At this moment, Sanji kicked away dozens of Ryugu soldiers charging up, then turned his head and looked at Luffy angrily. In the past few days, after learning about Eula's miserable encounter and Luffy's involvement, he felt very uncomfortable. He had decided. For the next week, he wouldn't put meat in Luffy's meals, to see if he would dare to bully Nami in the future. Stop arguing, let's escape first. Robin clasped her hands in front of her chest, then squeezed them tightly. Dozens of Ryugu soldiers in the distance were immediately unable to move. She didn't twist their necks, still hoping that the misunderstanding between the Straw Hat crew and Fish Man Island could be resolved one day. Luffy, give the order. Usopp fired ammunition like it was free, the hands pulling the slingshot string even produced afterimages. But the result was very different from before. His slingshot could only clear the mobs. But now there were still many human pirates participating in the attack, they were not mobs. Luffy. The other Straw Hat crew members, each resisting the charging enemies. Then they all turned their heads, asking Luffy to issue the captain's order. Kaimi. After a long while, Luffy suddenly stood up, looking at Kaimi with some anger, then said nothing. He turned his head to look at the Straw Hat crew members in the field, puffing out his cheeks. Let's go, everyone. Zoro. Got it. Zoro smiled knowingly, drawing all three swords. 1 World 36 Torments, 2 Worlds 72 Torments, 3 Worlds 108 Torments. 3 Sword Style 108 Torment Wind. With a poof sound, the huge water ball that enveloped them shattered instantly. Damn it. They're going to escape. 3 princes, what do we do now? The Right Minister looked timidly at the 3 princes. The Straw Hat crew's combat power was clearly beyond their imagination. Stopping here was the best choice now that many Ryugu soldiers had already been sacrificed. Chase. Keep chasing. The first prince clenched the trident in his hand angrily, commanding the soldiers to continue the pursuit. Clang clang clang. Da da da. Swords, spears, and shadows bombarded the Straw Hat crew one after another, and some ruthless people even threw bombs directly. The firepower was even a bit too intense, and some buildings collapsed. But at this time, they couldn't care so much, they all chased after the Straw Hat crew. Even if only one person was left behind. At this time, no one noticed that a buzzing monitor was starting to flicker. Tap tap tap. On the Straw Hat crew's side, they only cared about escaping. Occasionally, they wouldn't kill like Usopp did before. Luffy's order was to let them leave, not to let them kill. They were very fast. They would soon reach Sunny. Tisk. But suddenly, Luffy stopped. Luffy. What's wrong? The Straw Hat crew stopped and couldn't help but ask. Yummy. Yummy. There's yummy stuff in there. Luffy pointed excitedly at the building in front of him, his soul was hooked away. Luffy, we're still escaping for our lives. The Straw Hat crew was speechless, indicating that Luffy was still the same as ever. Sanji was about to reprimand Luffy, but he saw Luffy already running out with a big cake. Luffy. Isn't the cake Sanji makes delicious? I'm just hungry. I haven't had breakfast today. Who eats breakfast like a normal person? Alright. Let's go. Damn it, they actually took the cake that was supposed to be delivered to Big Mom. The Ryugu army, who had chased to this point, stopped, glaring angrily at the few figures fleeing not far away. Third brother, take some people to check if the sweets processing plant has been destroyed. The rest of you continue to chase me. Yes. Comma. On the other side. Tap tap tap. Cam was rushing to Pirate Dock. He felt inexplicably flustered. He wasn't afraid that the bomb would really blow up Fishman Island, but he was afraid that the bomb would accidentally blow up Wong Luffy's bullshit buff in advance. When that time comes, Wong Luffy would find him. He would be finished. The system said that once that bullshit buff came out, it would be the rhythm of a theatrical version. Even Roger Cumming wouldn't help. He had experienced it personally. Ding equals detecting the Ryugu military and civilians. Hatred value for Wong Luffy continues to increase. Hatred value +1. Hatred value +1. Hatred value +1. Opening square bracket closing square bracket. Ding equals detecting that the host has completely subverted the Fishman Island arc storyline, triggering an additional reward. Experience value +10,000. What? Cam was stunned at this time. How could he have completely subverted it? He hadn't done many things these past few days, nor had he deliberately slandered Wang Luffei. System. How is Wang Luffei's luck value now? Cam wasn't interested in this kind of side quests extra rewards at all. They were as small as sesame seeds, not as much as making monkeys. What he cared about most was the initial mention of being able to destroy Wang Luffei's luck. Master, Wang Luffei's total luck has been destroyed by 20%. The luck that Fishman Island should have obtained is only 1% left. Good. 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 Cam said good repeatedly, and the corners of his mouth rose immediately. Jia Jia Jia. In a few more days. Wang Luffei, you just wait to die. Chapter 97 Hidden Danger, the cake is destroyed. Cam was ecstatic. When the time comes, he, Cam, will bring a Navy admiral who isn't Kizaru, and call Kaji. They'll just stay in Punk Hazard as a schemer. And Wang Luffei won't have any bullshit buffs. It's still that same saying. He, Cam, really doesn't know how to lose. But the prerequisite is, nothing can go wrong with the Fishman Island incident. Thinking of this, Cam's expression turned stern. He slightly bent his legs, took a big step, and his speed suddenly increased. At this time, the Ryugu soldiers stood on the pier, looking at the sun rising above their heads, their faces full of unwillingness. They're tens of thousands of troops. They didn't even manage to tear off a piece of meat from the Straw Hat crew. And they sacrificed many soldiers for nothing. First Prince, it's our subordinates who are useless. No. It's me who's useless. Shark Star looked up at the Straw Hat crew who had already left the Fishman Island border in the distance. The look in his eyes was very complicated. His strength in Fishman Island is indeed considered very strong, but it's only Fishman Island that's very strong. When encountering slightly stronger pirates, his strength is simply not enough. I'm not strong enough yet. If I were strong enough, how could Hody have almost killed father? If I were strong enough, how could I have let the Fishman traffickers escape so easily? I'm not worthy of being the first prince. Shark Star said sadly, tears welling up in his eyes. No, first prince has always been excellent. The soldiers said in unison, indicating that Shark Star should not belittle himself. Shark Star ignored the soldiers' words. He suddenly thought of something. That's right. Quickly go to second brother's place. He suddenly remembered that Straw Hat Kid had entered the sweets factory. Although he only took a cake, it didn't affect the later delivery of the cake to the Big Mom pirates. But he always had a bad feeling in his heart. Good. Great. At this moment, Cam was dancing with joy. He had already met Kaji and knew the news of the Straw Hat crew leaving the island. Moreover, the departure time completely matched the time given by the system. Now he doesn't even have the last bit of worry. Boss, aren't we going to look for the bombs? At this moment, Kaji asked somewhat nervously. Cam was stunned, and then he remembered that Kaji wasn't entirely his little brother, but also a marine with a sense of justice. Immediately, he puffed out his chest and said in a righteous manner. Find them. Of course, we have to find them. Destroy them as soon as we find them. Yes. Kaji breathed a sigh of relief and gave a standard salute. Boom. At this moment, a huge roar exploded. Not far away, a huge mushroom cloud rose from the ground. Immediately afterward, the ground shook violently. Ouch! Damn it! Cam and Kaji both lost their footing and fell heavily to the ground. Then, as they got up, they both saw astonishment on each other's faces. The bomb exploded. No. The first prince looked at the place where the mushroom cloud rose from the ground with incomparable pain. That seemed to be the direction of the sweets factory. His second brother, Prince Crown Star, is still inside. First Prince. Don't go, don't go. The soldiers behind him tightly grabbed Shark Star, not letting the latter run over. Who knows if there will be a second explosion later. But how could they twist Shark Star, only to see Shark Star rushing towards the sweets factory at lightning speed? The bomb exploded. Shouldn't have. In the seaweed. Cam and Kaji both frowned. The bombs they placed on the sunny have good stability and can only be detonated with a detonator. Or it can only be detonated by extreme external pressure. But now Wang Luffei and the others are gone. Where is the extreme external pressure? Let's go take a look. Soon, Cam and Kaji arrived at the explosion site. At the same time, Shark Star, Prince Flipped Car Star and others also arrived. First Prince. What exactly is going on? Cam asked. I don't know. Shark Star looked sad and staggered towards the sweets factory. Boss, this seems to be an accident. Kaji understood what happened after looking at the traces of the explosion. A bomb with less than qualified quality was subjected to greater pressure, causing the bomb to detonate. I see. Cam nodded secretly. 5 minutes later. Ryugu's medical team also arrived in time. Fortunately, the location of the bomb explosion was only close to the sweets factory. Most of the fishmen and merfolk inside the sweets factory, including Prince Crown Star, survived after rescue. However, a large number of cakes in the sweets factory were all destroyed due to the impact of the explosion. What to do? These cakes are to be offered to Big Mom. Damn it. Why are there bombs here? Without the cake, without the protection of the 4 emperors, what will we do in the future? Quote. For a time, wailing was everywhere, and cries of suffering continued. At this time, Shipwright Dan scratched his head a little at a loss, and he said, if it comes to the origin of the bombs, I know. As soon as these words came out, everyone present's eyes lit up and they stared at Dan. Those bombs were moved out of the Straw Hat cruise ship by me. Dan frowned and told the story. After listening, everyone present was suddenly furious. You put the bomb here. He picked up Dan and wanted to teach him a lesson. Those. Shark Star discovered the blind spot and stopped the angry crowd. Do you mean there are many more bombs? Yes, First Prince. Soon, Dan led everyone present to a relatively remote seaweed. He pointed to a sand pit full of bombs and said, I was originally repairing the ship for the Straw Hat crew. I accidentally discovered that the ship was carrying a large number of bombs. At first, I didn't pay much attention to it, until later, a prophecy came that Straw Hat Kid would destroy Fish Man Island in the future. I became more and more aware that these were the bombs Straw Hat Kid used to blow up Fish Man Island. In order to avoid the prophecy from happening, I planned to temporarily hide these bombs and then find a way to destroy them. And the bomb that exploded just now was the last one. Quote. Listening to Dan's narration, everyone suddenly realized. It turned out they misunderstood Dan. Not only did Dan not want to blow them up, but he was also a benefactor of Fishman Island. The explosion of that level was only one bomb, so what if all the bombs exploded? Damn Straw Hat Kid. Kidnapping merfolk is not enough, and he even wants to blow us up. Quote. The soldiers and civilians gnashed their teeth one by one, and cursed Wang Luffy for being fierce and brutal. Alas, what will we do in Fish Man Island if we can't hand in the cake this month? Some people were also worried about the days to come, but they did not forget to greet Wang Luffy's ancestors. Ding == detection of Ryugu soldiers and civilians, hatred for Wang Luffy continues to increase. Hatred value plus 0.1. Hatred value plus 0.1. Opening square bracket closing square bracket. Detection of hatred value has reached the upper limit, triggering additional rewards. Experience value plus 0.1 million. This. Cam looked at this scene blankly, not knowing what to say. These bombs were placed on the Sunny by himself, why did they become Wang Luffy's? Chapter 98 Punk Hazard. Forget it, Wang Luffy is going to die soon anyway. What's the big deal about taking the blame? Maybe the bomb was detonated by the aftershock of their battle. Thinking like this, Cam took a step forward with Kaji, and said, we are the Navy, let us take care of destroying the bomb. Okay. As soon as these words came out, the Ryugu soldiers and civilians were shocked and burst into tears. Look. There are good people among humans too. Clearly, Cam and Straw Hat Kid are both humans, so why is there such a big difference between people? Ding == detecting that the Ryugu soldiers and civilians, favorability towards the host continues to increase. Favorability plus 1. Favorability plus 1. Favorability plus 1. Opening square bracket ... closing square bracket. Triggered extra reward. Experience points plus 0.1 million. This. Looking at the sincere eyes of everyone on the field, Cam twitched the corner of his mouth imperceptibly. He continued. As for the safety issues caused by the destruction of the cake, I think you can temporarily hand it over to the Navy. I still have some weight over there. Okay. As soon as Cam finished speaking, everyone present was shocked again, and then they covered their faces and burst into tears. Then, with a ding, a series of mechanical announcements came from his mind. Ding equals detecting that the Ryugu soldiers and civilians, favorability towards the host continues to increase. Favorability plus 0.1. Favorability plus 0.1. Favorability plus 0.1. Opening square bracket closing square bracket. Cam. For a moment, he really didn't know what to say. Sigh. Forget it, just treat it as building a mass base for Shirahoshi to marry into the family later. Here, he has to complain. Sometimes, marrying a kingdom's princess is really troublesome. Ordinary women are the best. Just snatch them directly. That afternoon, Cam and his party left Fish Man Island amidst the cries of the Fish Man Island soldiers and civilians. As for the matter of marriage with Shirahoshi, Cam entrusted it to Mingmei, and asked her to indirectly reveal her identity. Anyway, among the celestial dragon, except for those with defective brains like Charlos, only a pervert like Cam would be willing to do that with ordinary people. After much consideration, the 5 elders agreed to send Admiral Fujitora to assist Cam in killing Wang Lufei. As for the concern that the Nika fruit would be exposed as a result, they had also considered it. Cam had already suffered a loss at Luffy's hands, so even if they made a big fuss, it would not arouse suspicion from some hidden forces. After receiving the news, Cam didn't return to marry Geoise. He directly drove the ship island to Punk Hazard. Soon, Punk Hazard. Tat tat tat. The sound of footsteps was deafening, and tens of thousands of Marines gathered here. Vice Admiral. So many Vice Admirals. Hiss. That's Navy Admiral Fujitora. Caesar ran out immediately after hearing the movement, almost scared to pee. He thought the Navy was here to arrest him. This kind of formation. Trafalgar Law's throat rolled. What is the Navy sending out such a large force to do? Could it be to arrest him? But he is a Shichibukai now. Hiss. That's Monet. The one next to her is a celestial dragon. At this moment, Caesar's pupils contracted sharply. He suddenly saw his former secretary. It's just that this secretary didn't last long before Doflamingo replaced her. Let's go. Cam ignored the two of them and directly moved into Punk Hazard. Respected Korakuredo Kamu-say, may I ask if my mission is not to kill the Straw Hat crew with you? Not long after moving in, Fujitora couldn't help but ask. Although he is blind, he can clearly feel that the Straw Hat crew is not here. Admiral Fujitora, we just need to wait a few days, and we can wait for the rabbit by the tree stump. Cam shook his head, indicating that he had a script in his hand and was not flustered at all. Script. Wait a few days. Fujitora was speechless for a moment. This is Punk Hazard. It is not among the 3 islands recorded by the Fish Man Island log pose at all. Even if you wait for the rabbit by the tree stump, you shouldn't wait here. Admiral Fujitora, don't worry. I only hope that you don't act like Kizaru and play me at that time. Cam shook his head and smiled wryly. He could also understand Fujitora's concerns. However, knowing the plot well, he knew that this was the best place to kill Wang Lufei. Don't worry, it won't happen. The Straw Hat crew killed hundreds of our Navy soldiers and engaged in fish man trafficking on Fish Man Island. Even if he is Garp's grandson, this old man will never show mercy. As he said this, a hint of anger flashed in Fujitora's dull pupils. Earlier, he still had the mentality of wanting to meet the Straw Hat crew who truly saved Alabasta. But now, that's good. Saying that, Cam looked at the vice admirals here again, with a serious face, and you are the same. No matter what, the moment Straw Hat Kid hoists the skull flag, he is the enemy of UNAVY. Never show mercy just because he is the grandson of Hero Garp. He was really afraid that some vice admirals would be the same virtue as Kizaru. Yes. The vice admirals saluted. Very good. Cam nodded in satisfaction. With these combat powers, it should be no problem to deal with the current Wang Lufei. It's a pity that Gion is still in Eula's kingdom fighting Bull Beard, otherwise there would be one more candidate admiral. Then they would definitely be foolproof. Husband. That night, Monet exclaimed in surprise, I seem to have hockey. As she spoke, she let out a low shout. A circle of rich black energy was seen spreading from her shoulders. Obviously, that was armament hockey. Since obtaining the dual cultivation technique from the system, Cam has been quite diligent in his cultivation every night, and Monet has also benefited from it. Huh. Cam frowned. At this moment, Monet's armament haki only covered the area of her shoulders, but her two pairs of wings did not have any. What's going on? Monet also noticed her own problem. Try again. Cam didn't know what to say for a while, and thought that Monet was not familiar with armament haki. As a result, after trying hundreds of times, it was still the same. Why is it still not working? Monet's face was full of sorrow. She finally learned haki but couldn't use it. It should be a problem with your pair of wings, let Allah change them back for you someday. Cam guessed. Wings. Monet was stunned, a little at a loss. I don't want to change. Huh. After understanding the situation, Cam was silent. The reason why Monet willingly had Allah modify her body was purely because Monet herself wanted to fly, not because she was threatened. The only thing she was forced to do was to hand over her heart to Allah under Caesar's coercion. Alright, whatever you want. Cam didn't care, it's just that it's a bit prickly during that, and he can't use his hands to help himself. Anyway, I don't want you to fight. Then husband. Let's continue cultivating. Monet nodded, she felt that her cultivation was not in place. As long as she cultivates desperately, she can cover haki even if she doesn't take off her wings. Okay. Cultivation. Cam likes cultivation the most. Chapter 99 Momonosuke is on the island. Okay. Cam liked cultivation the most. But he was a little curious, Monet was almost going crazy from cultivation last night, so why is she so active today? Hee. In the next moment, Monet smiled and activated armament haki. Damn it. Cam only felt a strange sensation surge into his limbs. He, who had always won battles, actually felt a sense of crisis at this moment. Good fellow. Cam exclaimed in his heart, this was secretly learning his Emperor Hard technique. At that time, he was unhappy and said angrily, you're cheating. Giggle. Monet giggled, only husband is allowed to bully me with haki, can't I use haki to accelerate husband's cultivation? Or does husband think he can't do it? What? I can't do it. Cam trembled with anger and said that he would make you cry and beg for mercy today. Giggle. Monet covered her mouth and snickered, looking like a conspiracy had succeeded. Comma. The next morning, Kaji found Cam and said that there was something important to report. Lord Korakuredo Kamu Saint. This damn thing actually. Kaji was carrying Caesar, who was tied up, and his body was shaking violently. His eyes were bloodshot, and his eyeballs were almost popping out. He actually used children a few years old for human experiments. Cam frowned immediately. Kaji even changed his address to him, calling his honorable name, and asked, what's wrong with you? The thing is like this. It turned out that when Kaji arranged for the Marines to be stationed yesterday, he accidentally ran into a very large child. He was very puzzled. How could there be children in this godforsaken place? And the body is so big. After some inquiries, he immediately understood that this was not a treatment at all. They were purely being used as white mice. Kaji was so angry at the time that he wanted to rush into the laboratory and kill Caesar. However, he was stopped by the vice admiral who was traveling with him. Because Caesar used to work for the world government, they were not sure who Caesar was working for now. We can't let the flood wash away the Dragon King Temple. Kaji. Do you mean that our celestial dragon asked Caesar to do it? I dare not. Kaji buried his head. Although he denied it, it was clear from his tone that he was convinced. Humph. Cam snorted lightly and asked, then what if I say I don't want to deal with him? Kaji remained silent, but buried his head even lower, as if the relationship between the two had become much estranged. Humph. Kaji, you deserve to die. Cam glared and roared, and then changed the subject. You're disturbing me for such a trivial matter. How did you become a vice admiral? Caesar Clown has a bounty of 300 million belly and has already been wanted. Don't you know what to do? Damn it. Disturbing my good deeds. I won't give you dolly pills this month. Cam immediately cursed and criticized him for being an incompetent vice admiral. That's the same sentence. Cam just wants to be an extravagant and lustful celestial dragon, and occasionally do some bad things like bullying men and women. Kaji was overjoyed. Cam's words were self-evident. Get as far away as you can now. Yes. Kaji breathed a sigh of relief and gave a serious military salute. Then he picked up Caesar, who was full of despair, and was about to leave. By the way, where are those children? Cam stopped Kaji and suddenly asked what he thought of. Ah. Kaji was instantly stunned. Boss, they are still just children. Bang. Cam smashed away the dirty thoughts in Kaji's mind with one punch. What are you thinking? Can your military pay support those children? I'll go and arrange them, send them to the country I bought first, and then contact their families. Boss is righteous. Kaji knelt down directly, tears streaming down his face. Jia. Cam said this, but he didn't think so. He was so excited that he was about to kill Wang Luffy that he forgot some important things. Momonosuke. Isn't he on this island? Since he has traveled to the world of Pirate King, Cam would feel sorry for traveling to this world if he didn't kill Momonosuke. Soon, Kaji brought Cam to the biscuit house, which is where a large number of white mice children are kept. After arriving, Cam was shocked. Why isn't Momonosuke here? He asked the tallest girl, are all of you here? There is still one missing, but he has been missing for a long time. The girl was not afraid of strangers after learning that Cam would send them home, and then said with some regret, he is probably already starved to death. I'll go find him. Cam said excitedly. He suddenly remembered. Momonosuke fell into the garbage dump at this time. Boss, I'll go. Kaji said quickly, expressing that how could the boss do this kind of work. I'll go. No one needs to argue with me. Cam glared at Kaji fiercely, indicating not to ruin his good deeds. Your most important task now is to monitor the Straw Hat Crew's actions. Yes. The Marines present gave a military salute, and they were quite moved. Cam, as a celestial dragon, actually lowered his status to rescue the pariahs in their mouths. No matter what, if Straw Hat Kid can really be waited for in a few days, he will be beaten to death. He will never give Garp Face, who told his Luffy to be a pirate. He is a good brother. The children present all looked grateful and praised him. At the same time, on the deck of the Sunny. The Straw Hat Crew, who are usually full of laughter, can't laugh now. Even though it's already the next day. Thinking of Kaimi's extremely disappointed expression, they only felt a sharp pain in their chests. But what can they do? Can they complain about Kaimi? A large group of human pirates came out to prove that Calibu had joined their Straw Hat Crew, and it was an undisputed fact that Calibu lured merfolk. For merfolk traffickers are like human traffickers to humans, and they are so annoying. Damn Kaimi, actually. Luffy suddenly complained, scolding Kaimi for not trusting them. Bang! Nami was so angry that her chest trembled, and she punched Luffy again. Luffy. Kaimi didn't do anything wrong. Luffy touched his head with a look of grievance. The Straw Hat Crew members present did not say a word. After a long while, Sanji put out the cigarette in his hand. Don't think about those unnecessary things, at least Jinbei still trusts us. That's right. Frankie nodded, I believe it won't be long before Jinbei can prove our innocence. Robin nodded and said, speaking of which, there is nothing we can do about this matter. The truth of the matter should be similar to what I deduced. However, I didn't expect that the fake Straw Hat Crew really recruited Calibu. A series of misunderstandings have been superimposed, and if you don't know it, you would think it's a story. Zoro shook his head. Okay, the clear will clear themselves. They are pirates. In fact, they don't care about this kind of stigma at all. Even if everyone on Fish Man Island doesn't trust them, it doesn't matter. Chapter 100. Repeatedly attack Momonosuke. It's just that, among those who distrust them are their friends. Moreover, they can't even muster any anger. That kind of fact is right before Kaimi's eyes. Given that situation, even they themselves estimate they would make the same choice as Kaimi. Quote. The atmosphere on the Sunny was still heavy, but it had eased a lot under the guidance of Sanji and the others. Gulp. Just then, a figure suddenly emerged from the surface of the sea. It was an old man with purple hair. Hiss, quick, save him. Chopper exclaimed. At this moment, Punk Hazard Underground Landfill. Cam finally found Kazuki Momonosuke after a lot of hard work, and he also very considerately helped him transform back into human form. Then, step. Ding = congratulations, Master, for helping Momonosuke shatter his eggs and obtain eternal treatment, experience points plus 0.0011. Huh. Hearing the system's broadcast, Cam was immediately dumbfounded. 0.0011. Is that pocket change? System. That's Kazuki Momonosuke. I helped him sever his mortal ties, and the reward is so little. Cam was unhappy at the time. Although his system focuses on having babies, some extra rewards are also 0.11. Why is helping Momonosuke abstain from lust only worth so little experience? Master. It's calculated by the caddy, this is already too much. Hearing this, Cam glanced at it. Suddenly realized. Calculated by the caddy, this is not surprising. Then just kill him. Cam shook his head and muttered at the time. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Hearing this, Momonosuke immediately shuddered and knelt in front of Cam. Didn't you just say you were a samurai and would never give in? Cam glanced at Momonosuke disgustedly. Before he beat him, his head was raised higher than anyone else's. Now he only kicked him once. And he knelt down directly. With a bang. Another kick. Precise critical hit. Ah ah. Momonosuke burst out with a pig-slaughtering scream. Ding congratulations, Master, for helping Momonosuke shatter his eggs and obtain eternal treatment. Experience points plus 0.0011. System. No, is that thing gone? Cam couldn't help but ask the system. Master. It's broken, but it can continue to break. Cam heard this. His eyes lit up instantly. It's broken, but not completely broken. With a bang, another precise critical hit. Ah. Ding congratulations, Master, for helping Momonosuke shatter his eggs and obtain eternal treatment. Experience points plus 0.0011. Ding congratulations, Master, for helping Momonosuke shatter his eggs and obtain eternal treatment. Experience points plus 0.0011. Ding congratulations, Master, for helping Momonosuke shatter his eggs and obtain eternal treatment. Experience points plus 0.0011. Opening square bracket comma closing square bracket. Soon, a series of system broadcasts sounded. But after the 10th time, there were no more rewards. Experience packs should play the greatest role of experience packs, even if the experience is small, but a little chicken makes a lot. Adhering to this idea, Cam asked. Are you really Kazuki Momonosuke? Do you know me? Momonosuke clutched the missing part, and asked with a bit of a duck voice. To tell you the truth. I was ordered by Governor Kaido to kill you. Cam picked up Momonosuke's head, and then continued with a smile. However, I really can't bear to see Odin's son die like this. Then you mean to let me go? Momonosuke looked happy. Although I work for Governor Kaido, I was really shocked when Odin was subjected to the pot cooking punishment. Cam endured the nausea and showed a look of admiration for the idiot. Immediately, he looked at Momonosuke with a cold expression and said, But, are you really Kazuki Momonosuke if you are so cowardly? Momonosuke's expression stagnated. How could he not understand the meaning of the person in front of him? What do you want to do to believe that I am Odin's son? Simple. Cam smiled and said, Odin endured the pot cooking punishment and held on for an hour without saying a word. If you are really his son, you shouldn't be bad either. As long as you withstand my attacks 10 times and hold back from shouting. I will believe that you are Kazuki Odin's son. I won't kill you. Okay. Momonosuke trembled and agreed. As soon as he finished speaking, his pupils shrank immediately. I saw that the person in front of me suddenly kicked there without any warning. Squeak squeak squeak. Momonosuke clenched his teeth tightly and really didn't say a word. Cam frowned. He thought that he was too afraid of death, so his small universe exploded. However, what Cam didn't know was that Momonosuke's place was completely useless, and even the nerves were very few. So it felt like a lot less. Cam didn't give Momonosuke time to breathe and continued to launch an offensive. Tat tat tat. Critical hit. Critical hit. Critical hit. Squeak squeak squeak. Momonosuke's face was extremely distorted, and he cursed in his heart. But he was cursing his father. If it weren't for that damn pot cooking punishment, wouldn't he, Momonosuke, have to verify his identity like this? There's only one last time left. A hint of joy appeared on Momonosuke's ferocious face. According to the agreement, as long as he endured one more attack without shouting, he could prove that he was Odin's son. He won't die. I persisted 9 times, it seems that you are very likely to be Odin's son. Cam grabbed Momonosuke's head and said with a smile, then I will help you heal first. At the same time, Activate 60% heal fruit ability. Boom. Suddenly, a strong force of vitality spread over Momonosuke. Hiss. Feeling this vitality, Momonosuke's pupils shrank suddenly, unable to believe that there is such a magical power in this world. But the next moment, his face changed suddenly, and he suddenly realized something. Don't ah. Momonosuke roared in his heart, praying to continue to be an incomplete person. But immediately, a familiar and unfamiliar feeling that had crossed a few minutes arose. Critical hit. Then the next moment, this familiar feeling disappeared. Ah. Momonosuke instantly burst out with a pig-slaughtering scream. Ding congratulations, Master, for helping Momonosuke shatter his eggs and obtain eternal treatment, experience points plus 0.0011. Mom, yeah, can really farm experience. Cam's eyes lit up into light bulbs in an instant, indicating that he had discovered a new continent. No way. I must fill up the experience. Ding Master. You can get a total of 1 million experience points from Momonosuke. Good. Cam said good in his heart. But he coughed lightly and looked at Momonosuke rolling on the ground expressionlessly. You just shouted, but I can give you another chance. With that said, he picked up Momonosuke and kicked him again. Ah. You shouted again, I'll give you another chance. Ah. I feel pity, let me give you another chance. Ah. Kill me. Please kill me. Momonosuke was completely desperate and knelt down begging for death. What? You said you want to challenge 100 times. Cam circled his ears, indicating that he didn't hear clearly. Comma. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories, and never miss out on a great listen.